What's up, beautiful people? Um, Jim Lee here from ClimateViewer.com, and we're gonna figure out if this is actually live. Looks like it's live there. I don't know what's going on with Rumble. Checking in at Rumble. Did it actually work? Is it live? It is live. Apparently, I didn't screw it up. All right, we'll assume the rest are working, and we'll see how that works out. How are you guys doing? Been a hell of a week. Did a couple videos, got a lot of reactions from them, and apparently, newsflash, I am a actor. I'm a paid shill. I'm a whole lot of things that I didn't even know I was, man. It's pretty, epic. In fact, like I didn't think very much of myself up till this moment. But apparently I'm rich and I'm paid by the, Illuminati and the World Economic Forum and the United Nations, and I hang out with AOC and all kinds of things. Give me just 1 second. I'm going to bring the chat up. I had a snafu, because this is my first time like using Restream. And then I did a test earlier, and, let's see if it's, there it goes. You know what? Let's just do this so I can actually see the chat. What's up, chat? How are you doing? So, I did a test, and then I was trying to figure out, yeah, Katie, basically, I'm going to go through it, but before we get to that, so for those who don't know, I was on, with Bigtree on the Highwire, and I also did an interview with Sarah Westall. I guess we'll show that one first, because apparently there's really no drama there. But we'll just address that first. So yeah, I was on with Sarah Westall. You can see that right here. Geoengineering as a weapon of war. And I got a text message from a friend who was like, "Who the hell is James Lee?" I was like, I mean, it happens, links are in the description if you guys want to check that out. For those who don't know, I've been, live streaming on just YouTube for years now. Quite a while ago, I was, actually, how do I put this? I was, just streaming. I was using Restream, and then I decided, why do I need to even do this? I can just automatically, send everything over to, to the thing. Let me go to this real quick. I'm trying to change the background color on this. This background opacity, this opacity, and then let me see what this looks like now. Okay, now I can actually see the chat. Good for me. I figured it out. All right. So I was just streaming on YouTube, and it was automatically getting mirrored to the other channels, my BitChute, my Rumble, my Odyssey. About 2 months ago, Rumble stopped mirroring videos, and I was like, okay, well, that's a pain in the ass. So I set up Restream today and did a test stream earlier, and then basically, like, I was trying to do the schedule an event so it would all, get properly up there with thumbnails and all that, and then it was like, oh, by the way, now you need to change your entire OBS setup. And I was like, Jesus. Anyway, so it all just went, next time I'll get it right. That being said, yeah, nobody really is talking a lot of junk about the Sarah Westall video. I looked through the comments. They were awesome guests. Great job. The usual. I looked at all of our channels. Not a single negative comment. Big surprise. I was talking about geoengineering and weather warfare, stuff that most people agree on. But then, I went on the Highwire and basically up there for the specific purpose of geoengineering, I'm pointing the finger first at the CIA, then at private corporations. Okay. I'm going to make that honestly very clear. So, this is the biggest comment problem that I've had to face on this, is that I literally straight up said, hey, if I'm going to blame anybody for chemtrails, I'm going to say the CIA. You know what I mean? Because Operation Popeye, because Project Nile Blue, Cuban weather warfare, Popeye, Vietnam, the things. And of course, either people are willfully ignorant or they just did not watch the entire stream. But the comments have been interesting to say the least. So, I think that, let's back up. So this interview with Dell was actually recorded in January the 22nd. And you know what I'm going to do? I didn't even plan to do this. I'm going to do it anyway. Go over here and, where's it at? Dell Bigtree. All right. So I'm going to share this with you guys, because I don't think you guys realize how much work actually went into this. So Dell and his team, they were like, some of the stuff, you're saying, we need evidence. Can you help provide us with some proof of what you're saying? So the very first one, I basically got this, the chat's covering it up. I'm just going to take this down for a second so you guys can see. They're like, at 1:35, you said, 1:45, 1948 newspaper articles. All right. So I literally made the images or downloaded them from Weather Modification History, and I gave them to them. Palm Springs, article 1970, Illinois sued the airline industry. Here it is, screenshot for NATO, one fuel for the battlefield. I'm like, it's on this article. Here's an image. Here's the original source from dtic.mil. Carbon black versus black carbon. DOI, reference scientist graphic and article. Chemtrail versus contrail definitions. What you need to make a cloud. The Appleman chart. Contrail suppression systems and diagrams for military. Here's a patent, and here's, straight from the DOD. Youngstown Air Force Base, adulticide, evergreen aviation, firefighting, and stills of this article. Images, links. All of this was the first round of what Dell and his team asked me to send. Now, I'm going to tell you what. Most people would see something like this and go, article, screenshot, Weather Warfare Treaty 1978. Okay, I can do that. I got you, bruh. Don't worry about it. We'll go there. I would rather him push back and say, this is what we want, and vet it than not. So, all of these images, I literally, some of these, I created this one from scratch just for the, video, but all of these images, I sent them, for the video editors. So that's why it's taken so long for this to come out. I know a lot of people were messaging me going, what's the deal? What's taking so long? Like, you said it was going to be out this time. Well, they wanted to see it. And I'm like, well, you want to see the Youngstown Air Force Base spraying, in this case, herbicides. This is them, literally testing their aerial spray unit. That's a C-130 aerial spray unit. You see the pipe coming out the side there? If you don't see it, you're blind, but there's the pipe. And that was the whole point of this, was kind of try to show all of the above, but then go, okay, all of these things can be true. And by the way, there's this, there's what they call accidental geoengineering, or the unintentional effect, making the sky white, all that sort of stuff. That, the Appleman chart, when contrails form, this chart has been accurate since World War II. So, you can't have it both ways. You can't just say all one, group of people say is true and all the other people, they're wrong. Because the day we all agree is the day we could all be wrong. So for me, when they asked me to do this, I was like, sure, I will send you everything. What do you mean it only takes 14 planes to geoengineer the planet? Well, I mean, that's what they said. That's what, when Bill Gates asked, Bill Gates was like, hey, David Keith, how many planes would it take to geoengineer the planet? And he said, I could do it with as few as 14 Boeing 747s. And of course, that was one of the number one comments out there. 14 planes, my ass. Every single plane over my house is geoengineering. This guy's a shill. Clearly shill. Actor, paid, just bullshit propagandist. But anyway, my hat's off to Dell and his team for, really pressing to, hey, what the hell is, give me the information. You said that they were trying to use biofuels for contrail control. Look, I mean, this happened after I spoke at the EPA. So, I sent them all this. This is just the first round, okay? So I sent them all this stuff. List goes on and on. They didn't use it all, and I'm glad they didn't, because some of the stuff they used was better than the stuff I used. I personally love this image, blocking, the thing. But regardless, I don't think people realize how much work went into making this, interview. Like, I have never, and I want to reiterate this, I've been on hundreds of, podcasts from very big names, and nobody has ever, not a single one ever asked me to then show them the receipts, let alone ask me multiple times. So that was the first round. And then they were like, we still have some more questions. Could you send some more things? Like, we need more. I was like, they need more. Let's give it to them. So, David Keith and using private jets, where I got all my numbers from, what metals are in the chemtrails. They were like, didn't you say that China was in on this whole, biofuels for contrail control? I was like, yeah. Like I said, I spoke at the EPA in 2015. All of this happened, right afterwards when they dropped the lawsuit. But yeah, I resent them all this stuff. And then they're like, specifically, you said something about the amount of fuel used per year. Can you send us that? Sure. More. What about the aluminum and barium? Can we get those numbers? Yeah, I got those. Can we get a picture of your family? Sure. Why not? Cause I already showed them this chart. Anyway, they wanted it all. Let's put it that way. And I gave it to them. The troll is here. What's up, Grave? The point is, like, there are gonna be people that no matter what you do, it's never gonna be enough, because you're shooting Santa Claus. they're like, I've always believed this because, this is what I've thought, and nothing else could possibly be true. And then they go and contradict themselves, and they're like, how come there are days where there's spraying for like 4 days straight, and then there's no spraying, whatever. The Coming just said, Living Moon is another great site for this stuff. It's older. Shout out to, I want to say Jack Arneson, the Jack Arneson files, Jack 45. Since you brought it up, I'm gonna go there. Almost all of a good portion of the ionospheric heaters, missile defense radars, and stuff that I mapped out on ClimateViewer 3D came directly from Jack Arneson at the thelivingmoon.com. Credit where credit is due. But if you actually went into the map, you'd realize that because I linked to it. But yes, the Living Moon, older website, Pegasus Research Group, something like that. But great stuff. Been there, done that. Got the t-shirt. Oh, and the t-shirt says today, I used to be a people person, then people ruined it. And that's pretty much the truth. People say post and ghost, but I can't help it. I just can't help it. I end up getting into the weeds. I end up going there anyway, even though I know I shouldn't. You just can't help yourself. So of course I did the dumb thing and I read all the comments, everywhere. Probably not a good idea. And just so you know, feel free to interrupt me at any time, because this is, call-in show. If you watched the interview, if you got something to say, if you want to call me a shill, call me. I'm right here, because all shills really love to take phone calls. Of course, it's Willie first. Let's see if we got him. Willie, what's up, brother?
Hey, what do you say? I thought you did an awesome fucking job.
So you enjoyed it.
I thought I don't know that Bigtree guy from a hole in the wall, but I thought he did a pretty good job of questioning you and understanding, and even his summary of the thing was still liking you or whatever. But I didn't see
it's ironic?
I didn't watch their live comments on you or whatever.
But what's ironic is they actually asked me to do this back in like the 1st of December. And basically the producer called me. He's like, hey, I'm Chris from the Bigtree show, the Highwire.com. We'd like to have you on. And I was like, okay. And he's like, well, we record at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. I was like, can't do it. I'm at work. I mean, honestly, I didn't even know who he was. And
oh, you didn't know who he was?
No, I didn't know who he was. So he calls me back like 2 weeks later, and he's like, we're still, we'd really like to have you on. Is there anything we can do? I was like, yeah, if you can do it like after 6 o'clock, and even that's cutting it close, because I don't get off work till 5. Then I gotta drive home. I'd like to eat dinner, and then I actually might have some time, to squeeze in before I have to put my daughter to bed at 8 o'clock. And he was like, well, maybe we can move it up an hour. I was like, nah. My volume lowered. Is that better? Why did my volume go down? Let me look. I
don't know.
I'm gonna pull up the window.
I don't know if I muted my screen, but
there.
I'm out of it.
Now I should be blowing you guys out. Apparently, my microphone volume in Windows. Testing. Am I blowing you out? Okay, everything's great. But yeah, I didn't know him from a hole in the wall, and I actually blew him off the first 2 phone calls, and then they finally agreed to do it at 6 p.m. Eastern, and I was like, okay. We'll do it.
Kind of funny that it's blowing up all over Twitter now, though. Chemtrails, contrails, geoengineering. This one lady Dr. Naomi Wolf or something. She's trying to tell everybody to call it geoengineering instead of chemtrail, contrail things.
Yeah, that
somebody
sounds like
else, this real fisherman guy or something, is blowing it up all over the place. It was funny that it's all of a sudden become another big thing. You know, it's like a bloodbath of chemtrail, contrails everywhere.
You know, I think you're right on the money with that, because the last time I did this, what the absolute fuck is going on with my mic? I keep seeing the volume.
Let me mute my stream inside. I'm on my phone and my computer is going. Maybe I'm fucking with you.
No, it's not. It's not you. I can promise you that.
Well, all right. Mute my stream inside.
Oh, I do hear echo in the background.
Yeah.
But it's like, you know, it's like the volume is slowly adjusting itself down or something.
There we go.
It just did it again.
I shut my shit off. Did it work? Well, you're fucking hacking me anyways, man.
No,
you know, you're a CIA plant and stuff. Or I am, I mean, I don't know.
This is not possible.
Is it better now?
No, like, dude, it just did it again right in front of my fucking eyes. Like, I'm talking and all right, I gotta share this. Look at this crap.
Well, they're watching us. They're watching
Dude,
us. Yeah.
Look at this crap. I'm gonna turn it up again. All right. I just maxed my volume back. Oh, what the? I'm not. My hands are in the air. Look at the mic. Look at this shit.
Well, I'm away from my thing. I'm just talking on it.
That's not normal. It's never done that. Ever.
Yeah, they're probably watching me too.
Bro.
Just cause.
Bruh. Oh my God.
But yeah, I've been dropping your. I love the way when I put your link out, it comes up with your picture. That's some fancy computer stuff.
Oh, you're talking about the.
I just type in, you know, you got to look at Jim, and then I put ClimateViewer.com in, and boom, there comes your picture up there. I don't put the picture in. I thought that's pretty cool.
You talking about on YouTube?
No, on the Twitters.
Oh.
When I type in, you know, check out Jim, he's a great source or something, right? And then I put, you know, ClimateViewer, all one word, right together with .com, and then boom, your picture shows up right underneath my post.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah, I figured it was just the fancy computer razzmatazz you do.
Oh yeah, that's in my my Windows settings. Why is this thing?
Whatever. However, I just thought that was pretty cool. When I did that, I was like, "Wow, I didn't do that. How did I do that?"
It's like it's the share image property. They call them, it's open graph. So I put it in the head of the website. So if there isn't an image already there, it just automatically defaults to that. I think I actually broke it the last time I was updating the website. Now, like every page I share on ClimateViewer it's like a weathermodificationhistory.com link, it just shows my face instead of showing nothing at all.
I thought you did great on the thing, and he couldn't do nothing. And the guy was, you know, he was being his steptoe guy or whatever. You know, I thought he was actually a pretty good interview because he let you run. And then he would try and, you know, recalculate, re-summary what you said because, you know, you just fucking railed it out. I mean, I'm used to it because I've watched it for so long, right?
Yeah.
But it was like, he's like, you know, these people, he was already catching the chat or something, I think, because he's like saying, well, people thinking that, you know, you're saying that, you know, it's just the planes, it's just this, it's just that. And then you just fucking kept hammering them back. I thought you did great, man.
You know, like I had all these notes prepared, you know, like, and I kept mentally preparing.
It didn't even look like you looked at anything.
I didn't, dude. You know, the only thing I did was
you were teleprompting.
I kept looking at the screen because I was looking at his face to see his reaction. So like the whole time I'm doing the interview, I keep looking down to like look at his face. Bro, this is gonna be fucking impossible. Like the volume thing is just crazy. I guess it's, you know, like, what the absolute hell?
I don't know what's happening with the volume. It's coming through fine for me.
Well, it just, if every time, like, let's do a test. I'm not going to raise my voice. Let's see if it, no, it just went down to 87, down to 75, down to 64, down to 56. It's like auto adjusting my volume. If I talk lower, does it actually
What do they
up?
call that? Shadow ban or trialing or some shit, right?
That's just crazy. This is my mic input, in Windows, and it's like slowly working its way down. And it shouldn't be doing that at all.
Maybe it's your new whatever the hell.
I mean, I switched to Open Broadcaster, but it shouldn't be adjusting the volume at all. I mean, there could be a setting in there. Who knows? Let me go look. Audio.
Yeah, so you came off fucking like, I don't know, Tucker Carlson would been doing it for 100 years. I think you did better than you did with what's his name, the presidential candidate. What the fuck's his name?
Oh, Shiva.
Shiva, yeah, because he was kind of
he walked all over me, dude.
And you were just trying to get you tried to get. He was kind of rude, I kind of think. But it still came off pretty good, But this time was, I was just like, holy shit, man, this guy fucking.
Well,
I thought you blew it
honestly,
out of the wall.
Like you kind of hit the nail on the head with that one because, like, after the Shiva interview, I said, like, I'm never gonna allow that to happen again. My God, bro, I don't know what is causing this to happen. I have to like Google it while I'm live.
But he's just an arrogant fuck.
Well, it's
because he's Mr. I invented the internet or whatever the fuck he did.
He invented email.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, so it's like, I don't know, man. Like I said, I would never let that shit happen again. And at the same time, like there were a couple times where I went to speak over Dell, and I was just like, you know what? It's his show. I'm gonna at least let him speak. I'm not gonna like talk the whole way. But damn it, I'm gonna make sure I don't leave anything out. You still got all these.
And you even did say, we're not even going to get into marine brightening or this other stuff. We're just talking about this. You stayed focused and you stayed on point of what you were doing. And he was like, well, wait a minute. You're telling me that it's just the pollution. Well, then now you're telling me it's, the biofuels. Now you're telling me that they can fly in a certain altitude and make it happen. Whoa,
Have you noticed that
am I getting this right? You had him running, I thought,
Well, that was kind of my plan. Was like,
go. I was rooting for it. I watched it. I didn't get it live. I saw it a couple of days later. So
yeah, so
whatever.
I decided like that I was going to go into it and try to do the naysayer first and then flip the script. And I think that it hit him right in the gut. You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah, you were because he was like, because he's supposed to be, and you even mentioned vaccine to him or something with like a hint, hint, wink, wink.
When I said that shit, he laughed. I was like, he got it. You know what I mean?
He's been doing it for 100 years. Oh yeah,
like,
and then his summary of the whole thing was like, at the end of the thing, I didn't watch his show. I watched your recording of the show or whatever. So I don't know what the premise or whatever was before or after, if his show was even longer or whatever. But
there was some other stuff on there. But of course, I ripped all that out when I put it on my
I watched it on the YouTube a day later or maybe 2 days later. I was like, what the fuck? He was on a Friday. Why is he on a Friday? He's supposed to be Sunday afternoon. But whatever. No, I thought you did fucking great, and I wanted to call and give you a congratulations and yeehaw and all that kind of stuff.
I appreciate it, Willie.
Back and all that, man.
I appreciate it, bro.
I don't think you could have done it any better from what your topic was in the time allowed. Because there's still there's all the other shit that's going on, like you say with the marine brightening, and then not to mention all them atmospheric heaters and all the other bullshit all about all over the fucking world.
Yeah.
But that's a whole nother part of it.
It's the thing that like
one of the big conversations.
You can never like explain it all in one video. That's the thing. Like people want you to give you a one-line bumper sticker answer for something, and applications take it sleazy. I'm just turn that off.
There isn't a simple answer to it. And they don't know what the fuck it does, but they're still doing it. And I thought you came with all the receipts. I mean, they showed a lot of stuff, all your shit came up, and I was like, it was kind of review for me a little bit.
Dude, I got to give it to them, man. They literally, they put a whole lot of effort into,
Drop
editing.
out.
Huh?
No, maybe not.
I'm still here. Am I still here?
Maybe.
Oh, look, I think I may have fixed my mic problem. Take that.
Down.
I mean, now my mic is like maxed out. I should be blowing people's ears. Apparently, Willie lost it. Mic is not working. No sound detected. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Yeah, I killed the exclusive access thing, and now it's now it's coming back the minute I get on with this son of a bitch.
No matter what. Yeah, you don't mind helping test. I called a little bit. I mean, I didn't call on your first testing or whatever.
Yeah,
but I saw the first test, and I was wondering what the hell you were testing about, because I thought you were Mr. High-Tech fucking redneck.
I am a high-tech redneck, goddammit. Now I'm trying to figure out why the motherfucking phone call. It's the phone call app that's like trying to auto-adjust my microphone. Because it was working just fine
me, man,
until...
I'm a low-tech redneck, see?
Bruh.
Well,
Willie, it's you, bruh. It's you,
I
man.
know. It probably is.
It's
easy to blame it on me, and I'll take it. I'm blaming it on my wife because she's not around right now.
Good call.
If she
Good
shows
call.
up, she'll blame it on me.
Mine's within earshot though, so
mine's I'm out in the back
now.
porch having a smoke and a beer,
Yeah.
playing with a dog and making a conversation. But yeah, man, what do you think of the excessive response for the solar eclipse? Is it just because it's going to be in low population places that they're canceling school, National Guard, and all this other crap, telling people to have 3 days of food and all this crap? Have you heard that crap?
No, I mean, I've heard a whole lot of people making a big damn deal about the solar eclipse, and honestly, I haven't paid
I've seen,
any
I don't know,
fucking
2 or
attention.
3 of them in my life, and but never really the, whatever the hell you call it, the totality one or whatever.
Yeah. There was one there was one, that crossed my hometown a couple of years ago, and I gotta say it was absolutely impressive. I mean,
well, yeah, get dark in the middle of the day, yeah.
Well, I mean, being in the South and literally hearing all the cicadas, think it's nighttime, and then a couple minutes later they're confused AF. They're like, "The fuck just happened?" We thought it was nighttime. It's actually pretty cool.
That, I've always seen whatever you call them, the partial ones, and I looked at them through like a welding mask, like a arc welding mask.
Yeah.
And it was cool as hell, and there was a big, and it didn't last, I don't know, few minutes or whatever, and then that was it. But it was never the full thing. I never seen the full one. I don't know if they've ever been over where I'm at. I'm like just north of New York City a bit, like 60, 70 miles north of New York City. Well, I guess north west-ish or something of New York City.
That's weird, man. Like I'm reading it that I'm not the only one. It seems to be a Chrome only thing. All right, I'm gonna get the hell out of Chrome. Let me get out of Chrome and reopen this in Firefox, and then Google's bitch ass will quit messing with my microphone settings.
I'll stand by, or I call back.
Yeah, I'm thinking you're gonna have to call back.
All right, I'll call back. I can summary up my call in a couple of minutes.
Well, you could talk the rest of the night, bro. Don't bullshit.
I know.
Anyway, I'm going to read some disparaging comments in just a second. And then,
All right, hey Jim, I'll just leave now, man. You have a good night and happy St. Patty's Day. And I think you did an awesome job. And don't let any of the shows fuck them trolls and all them people. Because you did a fucking awesome job, man. It was, I mean, I don't know if you could been, I'd say admirable job, because that's like the best thing you can get. Admirable, I think, is the best compliment.
Yeah.
All right, and I can't wait to see you on Foxhole sometime. All right, later on.
That's the next thing to set up. You know, I'm going to survive this live stream, and then we're going to get, I told Frank that I would, you know, we would get Foxhole set up after I got Rumble and all my old things set up. So that's next.
Yeah, Foxhole is cool as hell. But I'd love to see you there. Yeah. All right, you have a good night, Jim. And like I said again, man, you did fucking great for a CIA plant shill, you know.
Hey, man, it's what I get paid to do, right?
All right, later on, buddy.
Love
you have
you,
a good night. Bye. Love you too.
Willie, that's Willie Fix It, everybody. Got to be one of the funnest people I ever talked to. And I met him through Quite Frankly. If you guys don't know who we're talking about, quitefrankly.tv, make sure you go over there. Yeah, like King's another one, just absolute crack ups. Willie calls into Frank's show too and raises a lot of hell. All right, let's see if it, I want to see if it continues to do it. See, now I'm not on the call and it's not doing it at all. So it's definitely, you know, the Google Voice in Chrome that is screwing up my microphone, which is absolutely freaking insane. Okay. So I'm going to have to figure that one out. Let me try logging into this on there. Grab up my Firefox. And we'll just do that. Not now. We'll go here and do that. And I'm going to sign in. And give me just a second, guys. Bear with me. All right. Got that. And then I go and I grab my password. Next. 2-step verification. Let me grab my phone. Yes, it was me. All right, let's see if this let's give this another shot. Testing. Is it acting stupid now? It doesn't seem to be. Settings, audio devices. I'll remember this decision. Allow, microphone, broadcast, system device. Weird. Okay. I guess that'll work. All right. Let's see how that works out. And full send. And it's not messing with my mic settings anymore. Damn you, Google. All right. So yeah, I've been looking through these comments and, you know, there are great ones in here. Lots of great ones. And then, you know, of course, the minute you start getting good reviews on something dealing with chemtrails, that's when the chemtrolls come out. And, you know, you get stuff like this. He should be the one, he should go to one of their geoengineering comments, plus many patents for other evidence at geoengineeringwatch.org. If you don't know this, Dane Wigington literally stole his patent list from me. I wrote that. I made that. That's mine. That's not the only thing he stole. He stole the entire like documents folder that he has. Like he copy pasted that from an article I did. He also stole his HARP article from Dutch Sense, Michael Janich. So that's why I take offense to the, Dane Biggington, Vane Wigington. Apparently Dane and I both attended the same LARP training. They both played the role of sheepdog, just for slightly different demographics, herding the undiscerning down blind alleys with limited hangout bullshit. Okay. Interesting. And then you got this Christina P. bitch. Person. Thing. So this Christina P. person is definitely like, she's Dane bred. Brain dead. A Dane fan. So this Dane bred person literally has been spamming geoengineering watch links the entire time. The same Christina P's like over here on the other episode. No, I don't want a full screen. I want to Control F and find on page. Really? That's a thing. That's the shortcut you guys used. Bruh. You're making my life hard. Just all up and down here. Sorry, Jim is not integral. And links to this video where I, basically RFK Jr. and Dane Wigington reaction, which I personally think was absolutely hilarious. And all I do is, listen to what they're saying and then, respond to it, because it's called a reaction video for a reason. And this right here is the reason why I take offense to Dane Wigington. He's the guy that says high bypass turbofan jets cannot create any contrails whatsoever. That's not a thing. And that is bullshitting people. And that's why you have this legion of... My wife said to try to be nice. So I'm going to try to be nice. But that's why there's a legion of uneducated people who believe that there's no such thing as contrail-induced cirrus clouds. That it's not possible for particulates from planes, poisonous particulates from planes, to make clouds. Is because if you go to Dane Wigington's website... I get nauseous when I do this. This is that page I was talking about. Basically, everything from here down where it says Geoengineering Company Directory, all of this was copy pasted directly from my webpage. And I can waste your time in going to archive.org and show you the before and after, but it's there. You just go here, climateviewer.com, scroll down to the bottom, and right here where it says, whoa, too fast. What am I doing? Am I middle clicking? I am middle clicking. This was my weather modification yellow pages, if you will. And what do we have here? This is the updated version, so it's got more than, he's got on there. But the original version, university and associations, the American Meteorological Society. So like this part right here from here on down was the old version. And you can see that they're the exact same damn thing. Like he literally just copy pasted it from my website. UCAR, NCAR, NRA. Anyway, what most people don't realize is like before climateviewer.com, there was actually resonated.net. And it's actually, let me see if I can do this real quick. .net. I had this thing up last night, and you think that it would, yeah, there it is. Shaboom. That's 2013, 8/11, 2013, 07. Let's go to that one. This is the original version from my original website. And I know that some of you may not have been following me this long, but this is what my website looked like back in the day. Before I put my name and my face on everything, I was just a member of Anonymous. I was just getting into, talking about these topics, and I didn't really want to draw attention to me or my family because, I just had a daughter. So I was just resonated, REZN8D. You can see it right here at the top, resonated.net. I would throw this into chat, but of course I broke everything. We'll figure that one out next week. But if you look down here at the weather modification yellow pages, like I told you it was originally called, of course, you go back and you revise things. So like, posted December 10th, 2013, last updated 2013, but in reality, this is 04/16/2013. Does it say it over here? Yeah, this is revised. So like I redid the entire damn article. But if you look at this one, this is the one that, he copied. And, there it is. UCAR, NCAR, and, all of that stuff. The weather modification conferences, weather derivatives, CME Group, AccuWeather, Artemis, go over to Dane's. And you can actually do the same thing with his and go back to this date and see he stole it. He stole this, CME Group, AccuWeather, Artemis. It's all in the same damn order is my point. Like he literally copy pasted this shit from my website. Weather Modification Association, Advanced Radar Corp, Aerosystems, Aerotech, over on Dane's, Advanced Radar Systems, Aerosystems, Aerotech. The list goes on. These are all the members. Texas Weather Modification Association, Texas Weather Modification Association. Are you seeing now, beyond a shadow of a doubt, this son of a bitch literally just stole all of the information that's on his website. And the irony of it is that if you like even so much as use his videos, he will threaten you with his lawyer, and all of that kind of stuff. It's just ridiculous. Like I've been through it with his lawyer. I told his lawyer, I was like, you're a quack lawyer. Like, how about you just fuck right off? Like, that's why when I did this RFK interview, reaction, I basically told Dane, I was like, I dare you to copyright claim me. And, that's the way it's going to be. So anyway, that's why I have an issue with him. He stole my patent list. He stole, my entire directory of companies, and you got all these people that don't know anything about anything on here, basically questioning my integrity, saying all this kind of crazy shit. And, I responded to a couple of them, but what are you going to do? Trolls going to troll. Let's just put it that way. So I'm not going to sweat it. The bottom line is that I know me, and I know that I've done way more work than that guy will ever do in the rest of his life, the rest of his miserable fear porn spouting life. So I'm not concerned about that. I actually was going to go through some of these comments or read them, but now I don't even feel the need, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Dane gets a lot of people in. Dane's like 1st through 5th grade for people that get into chemtrails. And then after they follow him long enough, and he bores the shit out of them by saying the exact same thing over and over and over again, they eventually graduate and they go looking for other places. And I'm not saying I'm the only place, because I know I'm not. But I'd like to think on this topic that I give, a fresh perspective, and I back up with what I say by, with references. Let's just put it that way. I try to take a no nonsense approach to it. And at the same time, recognizing, yes, military projects, they've happened. They will happen again. They're probably happening right now. I don't know if Weather War 101 died, Derry, But we did just lose Jamie Lee from aplaintruth.info. Yeah, I got the news the other day. Yeah, Jamie Lee, famous for talking about flat earth and directed energy weapons, and most importantly, the Paradise fires. He did hundreds of videos on that. Jamie Lee has passed away. Also, on a lesser known front, my good friend, Christopher Fallon, the ex-director of HARP, passed away at the age of 46 in his home just the other week. And I had spoken to him. We were on a Zoom call for about 2 hours right around Christmas time. And, you know, he had agreed to come on and do an interview on my channel. And yeah, just out of the freaking blue, man. You don't see it coming. You know what? Fuck this little thing right here. So, yeah, let me bring this up real quick. Dr. Christopher Thomas Fallon, 1977 to 2024. I was born in 1976. But yeah, he was the lead scientist and director of the HARP facility up at Gacon, Alaska for the University of Alaska Fairbanks. Worked at the Arctic Region Supercomputing Center at the UAF. He also, went down to Albuquerque and became a part of the Air Force Research Lab. So, little funny side story on this. After Chris left HARP, he was like, yeah, I think I can do that interview now. And then the next thing he did, he called me back and he's like, I can't do the interview now. And I was like, why? Like, what's going on? He's like, let's just say I'm working at Kirtland Air Force Base. I was like, oh, so you're working for the Air Force Research Lab? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, well, tell me when that's over with. And pretty much like, the day he got out of that job and moved back into the private sector, he called me up and started telling me all kinds of stuff he had no business telling me. Like HARP, ionospheric heaters on satellites and what their names were, things like that. And we were working together on a project that he had planned that I'm just gonna leave that a secret. But it involved lower power RF transmitters and air glow. Not necessarily ionospheric heaters, but like say powerful radio stations that were modifying the ionosphere. And we were going through my map and we were looking for specific radars and stuff like that. And I actually got an interesting link sent to me about lasers used to heat the ionosphere to create ultra low frequency waves. And I sent that link to Chris on, WhatsApp. And I was like, he's going to like shit a brick when he sees this. And then nothing happened. He never even answered. Hey, what's up there? What's your name? Where are you calling
Hello?
from? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear.
Hey, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name's Josh. I'm calling from Iowa. I just wanted to claim a small victory that I had on Wikipedia.
Ooh, those are tough.
I'm the guy who made it so the first part of the content section is called condensation trails as a result of engine exhaust. And that was huge for them.
How'd you pull that off?
I I used a paper as a citation. One I've mentioned in your comments a few times. It's biological and health effects of exposure to kerosene-based jet fuels and performance additives.
I got that. Yeah, I remember that. That's awesome.
But you can see there's been some messing around with because the start of the paragraph now says engine exhaust is predominantly made up of water and carbon dioxide, the combustion products of hydrocarbon fuels. And then it blows my mind. Then it uses all the stuff I cited from the paper to completely, invalidate that first statement. But that's all I wanted to say. Yeah, I appreciate what you do, and big fan.
Well, I appreciate it, Josh. Yeah, most people don't know about what a battle it is to get anything accurate posted onto Wikipedia. I tried it once and I just gave up. I was like, if I could just get like most of my stuff onto Wikipedia, I could probably just call it a day.
And this was a battle too, judging, but I guess they couldn't really argue with it too much because, it was a document out of Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. But just the fact that they keep that first sentence in saying engine exhaust is predominantly water and carbon dioxide, and then goes on to say all these other things that are in it is really funny. But credit to Wikipedia, that has been like that for at least 3 years now.
They're actually, this is what it says right now as I'm looking at it. The combination of water vapor in aircraft engine exhaust and the low ambient temperature at high altitudes causes the trail's formation. Impurities in the engine exhaust from the fuel, including sulfur compounds, provide some of the particles that serve as nucleation sites. Some of the particles. You see how that's like a lie of omission? They're they're going to focus on the sulfur and that goes back to a long-standing Air Force research lab belief system, and it's partially backed up by Ulrich Schumann. He did the sulfur 1 through 7 experiments. That sulfuric acid plays a key role in aerosol creation. That it increases the number of aerosols in the plume. And so of course they would focus on sulfur in this and then completely forget about mentioning, black carbon, which is what the actual seed is, you know what I mean? Or any of the metals in that. But still, epic win, Josh. It starts at the content section. What you were talking about is from the intro thing, but the first part of the contents. Oh yeah, I see what you're talking about.
That header, I cannot believe they have kept that header up. The condensation trails as a result of engine exhaust, because I think they purposely keep the whole chemtrail contrail thing going, just because it's easier. If someone brings up chemtrails, you can discredit them out of the gate. If they bring up contrails, then it becomes a discussion about water vapor.
Did you happen to see the interview on Bigtree?
I started watching it, and then I was just getting annoyed with Dell's impatience. He seemed just really impatient, and
I could see that. So that was one of the major points I was trying to make, that basically semantics control people's ability to ever get to the truth of the matter on this.
And it seemed like he was steering the conversation towards
Can we get back to chemtrails, or is it just
exactly.
Is it one or the other? And I'm like it's both. You don't think that both can happen at the same time? How many times have you been watching a TV show? Because my wife's into Law and Order, CSI, and all this shit, and the guy's literally, he's got 3 kids, his wife, the house is perfect, and he's out murdering and raping people all night long. You know what I mean? So nobody's all one way. We all have good and evil in us, and chemtrails and contrails can be different things and can be the same thing all at the same time, just depending on how you.
Yeah, and they are basically, because I mean, what combustion engine in the world up to until nuclear fusion reactors are somehow become mainstream, there's no clean burning combustion engine in the world. So the idea that they ever expected us to just say, oh yeah, those are water, that's water vapor up there.
That was another thing that everybody was busting my balls on. They were like, he sounds like a WF stooge because he keeps mentioning Tesla. And I'm like, you kind of missed the whole point. The point I was trying to say is, until they actually have electric planes, there will be chemtrails. Doesn't that make sense?
Yeah, especially with the fuel that, go into dirtier fuels and more like the anti-static additives and everything else. I mean, there's more truth to be found in just looking at the actual facts that the military and everything puts out in their technical documents, but then translating that into something that people will accept as an explanation, because a lot of times people just want to be grounded with whatever reality dictates through the media, or on the other side of it, believe in, just a crazy theory as the media labels it. But the truth is always in the middle there.
But I mean, this is my main issue is when you got Dane Wigington saying high bypass turbofan jet engines, geoengineering, and the contrail lie, it's like he's setting people up to fail. Do you get what I'm saying?
It sounds very scientific and official.
Yeah, but it's like when I went to the EPA and I testified that I testified at the EPA and I talked about metal particulates that are dangerous for human health and cloud creation, and of course I'm talking about jet fuel. So what happens, in addition to Dane Wigington and Russ Tanner from Chemtrail Global Skywatch basically saying I was an EPA shill, within 2 weeks of that coming out, all of a sudden, all over YouTube, there were videos called the jet fuel hoax. And to this day, I still have people that go, explain to me how they put 20,000 gallons of fuel in that wing. You know what I mean? That they honestly believe planes don't run on jet fuel.
Oh, that's just way out there. By the way, that's another thing people should be grateful for, is how you went up in front and gave your piece in Washington, about the EPA and jet trails. That was an amazing moment,
dude. I was sick as a dog then too. I was really in the middle of Graves' disease. If for those who are new to the channel, go back on my YouTube channel to anywhere from 2015 to 2018, and I look like fucking Skeletor. I mean, honestly, I've got this huge egg shaped goiter, and my face is shrunken. I so skinny, yeah. But that was a hell of a trip.
You've kept up some great work for a long time. I remember 2012, going on resonated.net and
wow, man, just
pouring through it. So
you're making me melt, man. I appreciate it, Josh.
All right, thanks for taking my call. That was awesome. First, I just dialed in and right away got through it. Now it's
now that I'm using cool. Firefox, it actually works, and my mic isn't doing all kind of weird shit. So that's great too.
Well, I don't want to take up too much more time. So thanks everybody out there. Keep looking up.
Yeah. Look up and close your eyes, because it's gonna you're gonna get filled with metals. Oh God, I would cry if it wasn't so funny. You know what I mean? You take it easy, Josh. I appreciate you, brother. Man.
Have a good one, Jim.
Thank you, man. Oh, that's awesome, man. I haven't ever heard of anybody literally winning on Wikipedia, and that's definitely a win. for those who don't know why that's kind of a big deal, I guess I'll bring this up now. If you go to climateviewer.com/cirrus clouds matter, I learned this from Mick West. He's a chemtrail debunker. This is pretty funny. So check it out. I keep it in that one. So yeah, I know Jamie Lee did several, the jet fuel hoax videos. I mean, it is what it is, like I'm not going to hate on a dead guy, I didn't fault him for, being a flat earther, but when he was legally targeted by Dane Wigington and Renette Senum, she had been threatened by Dane Wigington. That's why I literally came back and I made my Dane Wigington video. I'd had enough. The son of a bitch is responsible for Michael Murphy's death. He's responsible for Max Bliss losing his YouTube channel. He's threatened everybody I know in this movement in one shape or form or another. And then, legal threat to Jamie Lee, legal threat to Renette Senum. And I was like, all right, that's it. I'm tired of everybody, saying something to me, about how I should, get along with this son of a bitch when he is a scumbag. I mean, he is literally, and I don't say that lightly. I want to be very clear. Everybody is a child of God. You know what I mean? Like whether you believe in him or not, everybody has, some kind of light, some kind of spirit in them. And you know what? He may actually be a tender guy. Maybe he is just, he's got bad people around him that are doing all this legal lawfare against everybody else in the community. Maybe it's not even him. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. The bottom line is his own words, like he was the one who called Michael Murphy's family and alienated him till Michael Murphy was on the street. And if it weren't for Dane Wigington doing that, Michael Murphy would not be dead today. When Michael Murphy was down, depressed, and out, instead of helping the guy who made the film What in the World Are They Spraying that made Dane Wigington famous, he threw him under the bus and let him rot till he died. That makes you a fucking scumbag, Dane Wigington. And that will never change. But back to our lighter note. So what Jeff was talking about over there, I kind of learned this from Mick West. He's the Darth Vader of chemtrail debunking. He would give his minions one-line debunks. So like if the chemtards say this, then you say that. So I did this. And that's exactly what he did. Chemtrail debunkers say contrails are just condensation, just harmless water vapor. So what do you say to that? Answer. Response. Condensating on what? Answer. Cloud seeds or aerosols like soot and metal nanoparticles. You can't make clouds without soot and nanoparticles, without some kind of chemical for that water vapor to condense on. And that's why it's important that it literally says condensation trails as a result of engine exhaust. And that's what Josh is talking about there. That's a huge win, in fact, because it's a part that gets glossed over so often. They'll just tell you, hey, it's just water vapor, nothing to see here. Not a big deal. But then once you start to understand what it's condensing on, and it says right here, up to 30% of aircraft exhaust being unburned fuel. If you saw the material safety data sheets for what jet fuel has in it and all the cancer causing chemicals, and realizing that it literally says right here on Wikipedia The exact quality is a function of the engine type and basic combustion engine function, with up to 30% of aircraft exhaust being unburned fuel. Number 6, I gotta click that. Biological health effects of and exposure to kerosene-based jet fuels and performance additives. 2003. Journal of Toxicology. Let's go. I gotta bookmark that one on screen. But yeah, that's a whole ass thing. Over 2 million military and civilian personnel per year are occupationally exposed, respectively, to jet propulsion, JP8, JP8 plus 100, or JP5, or the civil aviation equivalents to Jet A or Jet A1. Approximately 60 billion gallons of kerosene-based jet fuels are annually consumed worldwide. Damn! All right, I'm going to have to just bookmark that. Irony, going to Wikipedia and reading something that's actually worth, reading. But yeah, that's on there. That's on there. That's pretty awesome, actually. But yeah, micron-sized metallic particles resulting from engine wear also have been detected, called the Wigner effect, due to atmospheric radiation. Like, literally, the metal inside the engine itself gets worn down. So some of the aluminum that's raining down on us is literally just engine wear. Fred Pinard, what's up, dude? I don't, I'm reading chat. Avgas, leaded aviation fuel, lots of lead in that shit. I don't know, like, it just, for me, it's like, when I was first getting into the whole chemtrail debate, everybody, all I heard was aluminum, barium, aluminum, barium, aluminum, barium, aluminum, barium. And I was like, well, let me look for that. And then whenever I found out that the jet fuel was filled with aluminum and barium, that the additives going into the jet fuel were filled with aluminum and barium, I was like, okay, well, problem solved. Here's the answer. Here's the aluminum and barium everybody's looking for. And that wasn't good enough. And then it became Morgellons and nanobots and all kinds of other crazy shit. I was like, but you can't prove that the Morgellons actually came out of the plane. Like, even if you got it, how do you prove that it came from the plane? Send me a link, Dom. Send me a link, and I'll get into an argument with ChatGPT. And I'm not even signed up for OpenAI. Like, I don't even have a login for that shit. I wonder if I could do it with Google Gemini. That would be interesting. Let's see. I don't want to sign up. I'll just, if I continue with my Google account, then it's going to be, Perplexity doesn't work the same way. Isn't that the reverse engine search? This will work. Ask anything. What is the difference between a chemtrail and a contrail? Does it give citations like where it got this bullshit answer from? Oh. Oh, this is priceless. Here we go. AI can be stupid too. The main difference between a chemtrail and a contrail lies in their composition and formation. Contrails, short for condensation trails, are visible trails of ice formed behind aircraft due to the mixing of warm, moist exhaust fumes with cold ambient air. On the other hand, chemtrails are a conspiracy theory suggesting that certain contrails contain chemicals or biological contaminants deliberately dispersed in the atmosphere for various purposes like weather manipulation or population control. Scientifically, there is no evidence supporting the existence of chemtrails, as all visible trails in the sky are typically examples of contrails formed by water vapor freezing at high altitude. Ask a follow-up question. Let's go. When you say condensation trail, what does water vapor condense on to form cirrus clouds? The water vapor condenses on dust particles in the air. Citation. Bruh. Just generic. That is incorrect. According to I'm going to teach an AI real quick. Me and Dom had this long Storm Fury 101 in chat is Dominic Marama, in case anybody didn't know. Where Dom was like literally having a 2-hour fight with the AI and like retraining it to understand, hey dumbass, what about this? And it's like, oh, I'm sorry, I was incorrect, but that was ChatGPT. We're on Perplexity. This one's probably not as smart, but you never know. One of the other ones is like fullfact.org. So chemtrail versus contrail. This is a fact checker that's paid by Facebook to debunk things like this. So you're never going to get the truth out of somebody if they call themselves a fact checker. They suck at journalism, just generally speaking. And it says by Hannah Smith. So no, that's not her. No way to contact her and tell her that she's full of shit. But anyway, I guess that's just the thing that you have to deal with. What are you going to do, right? So we'll go here. We'll go to artificial clouds and do. Do you think this is going to work? I don't think this is going to work. The claim that water in jet exhaust condenses on black carbon soot is filled with metal nanoparticles, as mentioned in the source provided, contradicts the typical explanation of a contrail formation. According to established scientific understanding, contrails are primarily composed of ice crystals formed when moist exhaust fumes from the air mix with cold ambient air, not metal nanoparticles. Bitch, please. I could do this all day till I beat this thing into submission, but no. See how I just like skirted over the soot? No. It doesn't, ice doesn't just form on itself and then turn into a cloud. That's not how it works. Anyway, I appreciate you sending me to Perplexity. I'm not going to create a damn OpenAI account because that shit is evil. And that's the end of that. Anyway, what time is it? 8 o'clock. Well, guys, let's see if anybody else has any questions they're going to call in, because it's getting kind of late. Been a hell of a day setting up the computer just to be able to make this happen, and then of course I blow it with the chat thing and then destroy my whole setup. What was that? Somebody just said something about I can't scroll up. Basically, like all I have right now is this up on the other screen because I can't actually log into my chat because I doinked everything right before going live and was just like, oh god, I'm gonna be late AF now. Of course Willie's got to end it up. What's up, Willie?
So what's your mic doing now?
It's working
what
fine
do we got
now.
over there?
It's working fine now.
Is it me or is it the Firefox?
It was Chrome.
Or is it the other thing?
It was Chrome being shady.
I could be Chrome. I like Chrome. If you know, Chrome don't get you home, but man, the Chrome, your Chrome's got to shine.
Yeah, well, I mean, it definitely pretties the thing up. But yeah, the only reason I even use Chrome is because like when I go to my ClimateViewer 3D, like it's WebGL. And if I do the exact same thing in Firefox, it just doesn't run as well. I mean, like the frame rate. And I mean, I've got a really freaking expensive video card. So there's no reason for this to be this smooth. And then if I go over to Firefox and I do the exact same damn...
So it's good now? It wasn't me?
It wasn't you.
Because, we're talking all this kind of stuff, and my shit is like military surplus from like 8 years ago, and I'm running like Windows 7 premium or updated or ultimate or some shit.
Yeah.
With a Brave. So, that's all I know. And I just mouse around. I don't know shit about shit. But somehow I get out there and get to talk. So what else do you think? What are we facing next? What do you think in New Hampshire? Are they going to ban it or just going to be bullshit? I saw you had something going on with them guys.
Banning with who?
New Hampshire. We're trying to get, they're getting mad about trails in their skies.
Oh, no.
They want to ban geoengineering. We got to change the term from contrail, chemtrail to geoengineering. That's what I liked about that one lady that said, what was her name?
Naomi Wolf.
Nanny Wolf or something?
Yeah, Nanny Wolf. She like...
anybody worth a shit? I mean, I don't know.
Dude, there's so many fucking egomaniacs. Like, every time I try to like work with somebody, it just, it's all like, no, I really don't need your help. Like I want to take all the credit for this, and I'm like, does it really matter? How about I just help you and you don't tell anybody? I won't tell anybody, just like, hopefully there's the flat earth. Look, see, of course somebody's got to say something.
Oh, is he a flatter?
Yeah. No, there's somebody saying something about my globe right here. Hey, just so you know, Grave, I'm an equal opportunity earther. So if you click
around the globe, right?
If you click right here, options and instructions, okay? You click that and guess what there is? It's a flat earth button. And it
I
makes
really like what you said about the different kinds of fuels because I seen the guys add the fuels because I worked on the airport and I seen them add the juices to things.
yeah.
And right now I'm looking up at the sky. It's night. It's dark. I'm same thing as you. And there's 3 fucking stripes over my head. You know, and it's just like, what the fuck? Earlier today with the wind blowing and different shit, there was no stripes. And is it just because it's the cold thing, this and that, or is there something? You know, it's just fucking pollution. But I don't understand.
I'm flexing on Chet.
Some of them just go right away, and some of them hang the fuck out there.
And watch this. I'm gonna take this flat Earth.
Business.
I'm gonna take this flat Earth, and I'm gonna roll it up into a ball. Watch, and then right back. Flat. It's round. It's flat. It's round. It's flat. It's round. Let's just troll everybody. Flat, round, flat, round, flat, round. No, I mean, if you prefer flat, then I don't give a shit how you eat your data. Click the flat button. I made a flat version.
All of a sudden, the universe got twice as old. It's like 27 billion years old instead of just, like 14 or 12 or whatever the fuck it just was. Now it's twice as old.
So the women are getting younger, and the women are getting younger, and the universe is getting older.
The new telescope is fucking with people because all of a sudden we can see farther.
Yeah. Yeah, that was it the James Webb?
I like
the
that
James
chart
Webb
you had where it goes through the columns of air that make the differences because the air is the atmosphere is all fucked up and different, and it goes through certain parts of it and it freezes and other parts it don't. That makes the most sense to me. I'm a mechanic, your tire's flat, you fix the flat fucking tire,
Yeah.
I'm a I don't know what you want to call it, a logical fix it. When it's broke, you fix it. If it ain't broke, it'll get broke eventually. We'll fix it. I got this little bit of a noise. Well, it ain't. I can't hear it.
Well, I mean, what really did it for me originally was just being able to see like an entire bank of clouds overhead, and then I would see the trails coming out of this, huge bank of clouds. And then slowly they would stop, and then the plane would keep flying and they'd be gone. And I saw that, and I saw it from like all of these flights all the way down, almost to the horizon. Like every flight would come in, and as it started to get to this huge stratocumulus deck, it would start creating a contrail, and then it would fly through the cloud and come out the other side. There'd be a little bit of a line there, and then it would stop. And then I'm like, if I drew a line, around all of the lines that I'm seeing there, that's where the water is. You know what I mean?
And that got to do something with the Hunga Tunga thing that happened, right? Because that got up like fucking, I don't know.
They don't want to talk about that. They don't want to talk about.
Nobody wants to talk about that.
That's why they're talking about. Yeah. Did you hear the new geoengineering idea about dehydrating the stratosphere?
Yeah. They're gonna put a fucking dehumidifier up in the sky. Yeah. That'll work.
Oh, it's like your basement. They're like,
we're gonna put all them silica packs up there.
Yeah, your basement flooded, so now
that shit in a bag of beef jerky that says "do not eat." They're just gonna throw that shit up there. We'll be all right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I heard a couple different ones. One was like, NASA's gonna dump billions of ice crystals into the stratosphere. To dehydrate it and all this. They're not saying why.
And ice that's water to dehydrate, that doesn't
even make any damn sense. Rice, that's my point. It's like
rice,
you're gonna stop. You're gonna get rid of water vapor with water, frozen water. Am I missing something here, or are we just all getting dumber by the second?
There's no science anymore. People don't do it. They just get whoever gets paid says whatever they want, and then they get all their buddies together and say, "Oh yeah, we're peer reviewed and we all think it's bullshit, but we agree because we're getting money." I want you to get on a horn one time with my buddy Diamond the Dave. He's Diamond the Dave on Twitters. He's got Oppenheimer Ranch Project. He's a geologist, weather guy, thing, this and that.
I know who Oppenheimer Ranch is.
Yeah. I would love for you to do an interview with him one time or vice versa.
Well, hook it up, man.
Bring him on to your show. Yeah, I'll try. I'll do my best.
I'm down with OPP. I'd rather be on other people's podcasts. I've been proudly shadow banned since
he's
2015.
And he does a radio show on Revolution Radio or something on Saturdays. It would be cool if you could do a interview with him. I think you would do great.
That was actually my first radio gig. Was on Revolution Radio.
That was your first one?
Yeah, that was the first place I ever did a show, and I did my first episode, and it did pretty well. I did my second episode, and it was like number 7 on the top podcast charts. Like at the time, it was like real time, data for like how many viewers, and all this stuff, and the guy who I can't remember his name now that owns Revolution Radio, he's like, dude, your show like blew up. And I did the third one, and then the third one, like, it got flooded with all these freaking trolls. And then I started getting death threats and all this stuff, and I was just like,
oh, geez.
I mean, it was all way too fast. Like, holy shit. And my wife was like, look, somebody just called my phone. I was like, all right. This just got weird, like maybe we just back off this for a little bit.
Yeah. Diamond, he's pretty cool. He's all about geology and the sun farts and the coronal mass ejections and all that crap.
Yeah, I'm familiar with him.
So wild, man.
He actually emailed me one time about doing an interview, and then I was like, yeah. Let's set up a date. And then the thing is, like, people like us, we're so damn busy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I get it.
And then it kind of just slips your mind. And then like 1,000 emails later, you're like, oh yeah, there was that time. I probably should have followed up on that.
Well, I'll try and hook you up again. I don't know him any more than just I'm a mod on one of his channels or both of his channels. Just because I've been watching him for like forever, like I watch you, because I'm I don't know, I'm an information whore. I love to learn more and more and more. I want to get more. I just, there's not enough, and I hate the regular shit and all the lies,
Yeah.
I love the real truth and with the sauce behind it, Because I've seen them say some shit about there's no way to manipulate the weather, and I'm like, oh boy, but there is. but yeah, there's no way to do it in the exact way you want to do it, and yeah, it's going to be a catastrophic motherfucker when you do it the wrong way, because all this shit is already there. And I don't know, I just thought it would be a good pairing of a geologist and a ClimateViewer, security guard.
You had to get that dig in at the end, didn't you?
I ain't giving you a dig. That's awesome, man. Do what you gotta do, man. Ain't no thing. I wouldn't go up against you. Fuck, man.
Hey, you looking at your screen?
Until you said to give me a hug, I'd give you a hug. I wouldn't do nothing. I know better, man.
Hey, this is you watching the screen right now?
Nah, I'm outside again.
Okay, well, you could check this on playback. But for all the people that are like, I totally meant to like download this to my computer before,
Ninja Jim, man, don't fuck with him.
So this is Jim Lee, shill for the New World Order. This is my dad owns a trailer park. Okay, so,
nice.
So I'm trying to set up this trailer for my mother-in-law to move into. So I'm out there and here's the water main, and then, I start digging, and I'm on the phone, I'm on WhatsApp with Dominic's now going to school to get his, plumbing degree or some shit. I don't know. He's trying to be like king of all the plumbers. And I told him that was a good idea, because guess what? He'll be making money for the rest of his life doing that, whereas I'll be, attempting to talk to people on the internet.
And falling fuck apart, man. I'm having problems.
So anyway, I get to dig and I'm like, what are these? And Dom's like laughing at me, and he's like, what kind of shovel are you using? I'm like, this kind of shovel. And then, of course somebody's gonna go, you didn't even do that, Jim. And I'm like, he said, that's soft dirt, man. That's easy. And I'm like, but what about these guys? And they're, these huge freaking, roots and stuff that I'm going through. And I was like, anyway, got to get off the phone with you because the sun's about to go down and I need to finish digging this hole. Then, of course, I run into more of my friends, these huge fucking roots, which are...
You got to use a big heart...
like that
like
big.
Long-ass chisel, like a 20-pound fucking...
No, dude, my shovel went right through it. This thing's like twice as thick as my thumb. And, the shovel is only about 6 inches wide. And it's about 16 inches long, the blade on it. And it's specifically perfect for digging a trench. So, of course, I'm like, I said, Dom, I'm like, I'm aggravated. This is my it's go time face. So Dom's like, because he's saying shit to me about it, and I'm like, I win. So I got all the big roots out there, and then I'm like, I think I win. I'm almost to the end, and then what do I see? I see this little guy right here. I'm like, what's that? There's freaking wire, like, it looks like coax cable.
Yeah.
So there's
411, man.
There's wire down there in the bottom, and I was just like, oh well, I could cut it because it's coax cable, but I'm not going to. Anyway, job well done. I dug the entire trench in about 2.5 hours to hook up the water to a mobile home, and that's what all Illuminati shill paid actors do. Between
the CIA guys do that. Yeah,
I mean,
digging ditches.
It's just it's a common thing.
I went down in Louisiana. Here, quick story. I was down in Louisiana one time, right, and I was at a job site that I couldn't go to. I was just ghost hanging up with my buddy on a truck. He works on big giant wood grinding machines, right?
Yeah.
So I got a job for the day, right? And I'm digging like a son of a bitch down in Louisiana, and it's fucking like sand, and I'm digging and I'm digging. I thought we're doing irrigation, right?
Yeah.
No, it's like 880-volt wires, right? And then we're digging down so they can make the new connections or some fucking shit.
No,
and,
no.
I'm digging like a son of a bitch, boom, 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 and everybody else is like slow and digging slow, and I'm like, this is easy digging, It was like digging at the beach, right? Just boom, 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 and I'm from shoveling shit. And then they tell me what we were doing, and I'm like, well, what the fuck, man?
No.
No. I was thinking, like, oh, yeah, you learn quick. Oh, yeah. I made $100 that day, whatever, and I only was there for a day. It was just because I was hanging out at a hotel, and I saw a job site, and I got a job. Because just that's what you did back in the day, whatever. This was...
Hold on, Grave, you're absolutely incorrect. The Illuminati only takes flat earthers.
Oh, yeah, well,
he's saying that the Illuminati doesn't take, won't take flat earthers, but in fact, if you're a glober, they don't want anything to do with you. So,
well, my bride worked.
They won't let me in. They won't let me in. Even I put this up here specifically because like we broke over here, and I was like, maybe if I put this flat Earth behind me. And then, they were like, no, Jim, you can't be part of the club. And then I was like, but what, I made my map flat. Like, it's no longer round. I promise. Like, I'm with you guys. I'm not a globe-tard anymore. And the Illuminati, they were like, sorry, we're gonna have to reject your application, Jim. And that's just the way it goes sometimes.
I'm overexperienced and undereducated and done too many things myself. My mom worked at the Pentagon, man, back in the day. So I don't know. My bride worked at Area 51 too, so whatever. I'm just a car mechanic. Man, I can't even fix cars anymore because my arms are falling apart. I don't know. I got some kind of muscle problem, tendon thing that keeps fucking breaking.
And I'm just a security guard, as he liked to point out. I'm a security. Yeah. I'm a security guard. Fucking asshole.
I didn't say that. You said that.
You said it. You brought.
I was just quoting one of your. I was just quoting one of your websites. I didn't mean to steal it.
Yes, I'm.
Oh, Jim, I love you, man. I'm glad your voice thing is better. I'm glad it ain't my fault. All right.
I'm glad I figured it out while live on the air, and just the show is going to shit. That's all I'm saying. Like, this is a step in the right direction because what the fuck? I just realized that my chat is like going off the top of the page. Let me fix that.
Yeah,
there we go.
I'm always good for a test subject, anyways. I was one of them crash test dummies before they made the other ones.
That's better. Oh yeah.
yeah.
What was it? Was it like Family Guy or something like that? Or they just they got him to sit in there. He's like, "What do I do?" You sit in the seat, and he's like, "Okay."
No problem. Drive into the fucking brick wall at 100. Yep, I got you. No problem. All right, man. I love you.
Love you too, Willie.
We're all special in our own way, and you're extra special. And you did an awesome job on that. And fuck the trolls. All right, I love you.
Later, definitely. Later, man.
All right, good night. Bye.
Hey, what's up? Where are you calling from? What's your name?
My name's Sophia. I'm in Maysville, Kentucky. How you doing?
Pretty good. Want to fight about it?
No, I don't want to fight at all. I hate fighting, believe it or not. My partner would disagree with you, but...
Fair enough. What's up?
Well, nothing. I saw your interview with Bigtree. I didn't see it live. We watched later, and then I went back and looked at your YouTube channel, and I've been a fan of Renette Senums for quite some time because I supported her fight against Newsom and all that. And then we binge-watched that today and last night, both of us today. Anyway, I had one question that I was curious about. You said about the contrails, chemtrails, when they leave the things in the sky, they have to be at a certain altitude to do that? I was just trying to remember how that works, if you have time to elaborate a little bit.
Yeah, so there are these things that are called radiosondes. And basically, like, all over the globe, 808 caller from 808. If you'll call back right after this, I'll definitely stick around and take your call. Basically, they twice a day, these meteorologists, they take a balloon and it's got a little sensor on the bottom of it. They throw it up in the air, and with that balloon, it measures the temperature and the humidity all the way up, as it's rising in altitude. And it creates these charts of, things like wind speed, pressure, humidity, temperature, all that. So when you're looking at the charts for them, there's basically temperature and dew point depression, which is like, kind of like relative humidity, but it's a little different. Anyway, where the two lines come together. So as you're looking at this chart, you're going to see it's going to be wide at the bottom, and then there's going to be an area where it comes together, and then it's going to diverge again because now you're in the stratosphere. Where those lines come together, that means that there's enough water vapor present, and it's cold enough that if you fly through that area, it's going to make clouds. Period. And this is what's called the Appelman-Schmidt chart, or the Appelman-Schmidt criterion. Even before there were, like, we're talking like World War, II, like B-17Gs, you know what I mean? Like propeller planes leaving contrails, okay? Leaving big white lines. And the Germans would see our bombers coming over and shoot them down. And they were like, this is a bad idea. You know what I mean? Like, is there some way that we can go bomb some shit without people seeing our planes? Because our planes leaving white lines basically is like an arrow pointing at the thing they want to shoot down.
Yeah, I remember you saying that on the interview. Yes.
That's why they came up with this whole, we need to know why this is happening and exactly where and when. And a friend of mine, Jeff Matiska, I just met him within the last year. he was a U.S. Navy meteorologist, and he was the one that really explained to me, about them using radiosonde data to tell the planes coming back to the aircraft carrier to where not to fly, so that they don't leave lines that lead the enemy back to the aircraft carrier. So like this has been like known science, and to be fair, like when I tell people I was you, what I mean by that is, like, at the beginning, I believed it was all just chemtrails. You know what I mean? It was all just intentional pump pipe. Look at that poison. They're trying to kill us.
Chemtrails. Just to be clear, I've never believed all of it was deliberately chemically, I don't think all of it is. Let's put it that way. I don't know. I'm not educated enough.
Well, so the answer to your question is, these areas in the sky are called ice supersaturated regions.
I had one question that I really wanted to ask, which was this. I wanted to understand a little bit, but I don't want to take all your time either. But the question I'm am interested in is, as a 62-year-old woman who grew up where there was a lot of air traffic, why did I never see these things, the tic-tac-toe pattern, as they refer to it? That didn't start appearing for me, to my memory, which is obviously going to be woefully inadequate, until maybe the mid-'90s, maybe as early as 1990, or maybe the late 80s. But I just remember one day going, what in the world is that? And it seems like it got more. And I know there's an increase in flights and all that, but why didn't we see these patterns in the sky before a certain time?
So on the one hand, I'm going to play devil's advocate. I'm going to do both. On the one hand, you've got the increase in aircraft in travel, the increase of flights per year. I looked for a chart the other day. I can't find if somebody can find an accurate chart, that has more than, that goes way back to the 70s, I would love for you to send that to me, Jim@ClimateViewer.com. I've been lazy today because I've been so busy on trying to get this show set up and redo everything from scratch. But basically, like in 2004, there were 23 million flights per year. In 2019, there were 39 million flights per year. That's almost double in 15 years. Okay. So if flights doubled in 15 years between 2004 and 2019, and then you keep going back, then there's been about a doubling of flights every 10 to 15 years. And you got to remember that jet flights, really started around the 50s. So as these plane farts in the aerosols and all the chemicals coming out of the back of them build up in the stratosphere, they're slowly raining out. So as it starts to accumulate, that's why the sky's turning whiter. That's what the sky whitening's about. That's why you see the milky white horizon.
I just never saw a jet trail stay in the atmosphere for a period of half an hour until I was maybe 35. Not even one.
And you know what? I wonder, is it like a Mandela effect, or were you just, blissfully ignorant to it, or you just, because I was a Boy Scout, I was outside every single day, back in the early 80s, we weren't allowed to come in the house, you know what I mean? And especially in Boy Scouts, we'd be on mountaintops and, things like that, where you can see in every direction all at once. And I never, so I did a video about it. I called it, I Remember Blue Skies. And for me, it's the same kind of story. I remember when this wasn't a thing. It didn't seem like it was a thing. And that doesn't jive with, the newspaper articles as far back as 1948, 1958, saying, Palm Springs complaining about their entire sky being blotted out. The 1970s with Illinois and New Jersey saying the entire sky is blotted out. There's no sun. We're suing the airline industry.
I grew up 40 to 50 miles from three of the largest international airports in the world, and I never saw that growing up. So, I don't know what it is, why I didn't see it. But so
I think that a lot of it has to do with, obviously the change from the old fashioned turbines to the high bypass turbojet, probably changes to the jet fuel, its composition, and the additives that are mandatory. Part of it is the buildup of chemicals that have happened over the decades, because you got to remember, like, any chemicals that are in the stratosphere, they stay from anywhere from a couple months to a couple years before they come down. And if you just keep adding to that, then what's coming down gets thicker. Let's just put it that way.
It may also affect the ability of the exhaust to dissipate. There's so much particulate matter hanging up there. It takes a lot longer to dissipate.
That's a great point. So if there's not enough water vapor present for it to condense for the water vapor to condense on it, then this is what's called overseeding. And overseeding is what militaries have done to intentionally induce drought-like conditions. So this is what the Russian government did after Chernobyl. When Chernobyl, the fallout was headed towards Moscow, they did cloud seeding over Belarus, and they overseeded the sky. So what happened? At first, there's a flood. All of that water rains out. And then after that, there's too many aerosols in the sky for the available amount of water vapor, and they create drought-like conditions. So now no rain fell on Moscow. All that radioactive fallout fell on Belarus, and they didn't tell a soul. And it was called...
I remember you talking about that in the interview as well. I mean, if you want to tell your audience, great. I'm happy to listen again, but I don't want you to have to repeat yourself.
Yeah. Okay, good. So the same was true with the 2008 Beijing Olympics. They didn't want it to rain there. They said they were going to overseed the sky to stop it from raining. Well, the same back to what you just mentioned, that it may actually be causing, these chemicals to take longer to make it to the ground because of the buildup of so many of them. And then I'm going to flip the script and say, or, like what I saw with NATO, when NATO switched all of its jet fuel from JP4 to JP8, and say for instance, calcium in JP4 was around 3,200 parts per billion. In JP8, it was 32,000 parts per billion, or 32 parts per million.
It's hard for me to understand what that is, but I guess
the point is that for every cubic centimeter, let's just say the amount of calcium in that cubic centimeter went up tenfold. So the amount of metals that came out of JP8 when it's burned, it went up sometimes, in the case of aluminum, 5 times, barium 5 times, calcium 10 times, across the board, basically just more metals. So if you have all NATO countries switch simultaneously from JP4 to JP8 from 1988 to 1996 when they completed the conversion,
That's about the window when it started.
That would explain it. This is the best I've been able to come up with for what fits the timeline, and this is what turned me on to the whole jet fuel thing. Was that when I was looking at where's the aluminum, where's the barium, where's these things coming from? Oh, it's in jet fuel, and what fits the timeline? The NATO single fuel concept fits the timeline. They started in 1988. They finished in 1996. And that would explain why suddenly, worldwide, all NATO countries are experiencing the exact same thing.
You mentioned the Belarus Chernobyl thing. How long after they seeded after that did it take it to rain on Belarus, if you know?
I could check my timeline.
You don't know, that's okay.
It's on the weather modification history timeline.
Okay.
And there's firsthand accounts. There's Yuri Israel and Bestamov, a couple different Russian scientists that explained, all the details of it. I think it was called Project Cyclone. They literally described that big, huge yellow chemtrails. They said yellow contrails were seen all over the sky that day, and that's what caused the flooding out. If you look at the radiation chart, you can see exactly where it fell.
So the flooding happened like a day or two after the yellow trail?
No, it would have happened almost instantly.
Really? But so the stuff that takes 2 months to 2 years to precipitate down to Earth is different than the
because in the troposphere, it's only if you put chemicals in the troposphere, they tend to last like 2 weeks to 2 months at the very most. But when you're talking about cloud condensation nuclei, when you're talking about cloud seeding specifically, you're usually introducing that directly into clouds. And those clouds already have an abundance of water. So the purpose of sticking them in there is to help, more condensation occur, for the water vapor to condense enough to get heavy enough to fall to the ground. That's the basis of cloud seeding. In fact, I studied geoengineering and cloud seeding for 3 years before I ever talked about chemtrails. So when people kept, I was making videos about, what these bastard geoengineers are up to, and people are coming at me left and right, and they're like, but why don't you ever talk about the chemtrails? And I was like, what the hell are chemtrails? Like, it just hit me sideways. And then I was like, oh, well, I mean, this is basically cloud seeding. It's the same thing. People always call it geoengineering, but in reality, it's weather modification first, and then it's geoengineering. Because
we seem to have a pattern where I live now, where we have these brilliant blue skies with not a cloud, and then occasionally there'll be a wisp, and then one day we'll have the tic-tac-toes going on. There won't be any planes in the sky for days, and then all of a sudden we've got the tic-tac-toes going on, which is, I don't know what they are. I'm not saying they're chemtrails. I'm not saying they're anything. I don't know. I haven't been up there. But then maybe a day and a half, 2 days, sometimes just 24 hours later, we have huge amounts of rain, which I find interesting because I didn't know if those lingering trails were them trying to precipitate rain or whatever, or what they were, because they do seem to follow, they do seem to precede by about 24 to 48 hours fairly heavy rain. I was just curious. I don't know. I'm clueless.
Well, so. I mean, you also have to consider, like, the basically like storm fronts, especially, they tend to kick up a lot of dust. Cloud seeds are not, just silver iodide, like the cloud seeding. It's dust, it's bacteria, it's mold, it's spores. It's, aluminum is a big one because guess what? It comes from dirt. So there's, most people never even consider the fact that the majority of airborne aluminum actually comes from dirt, like from the deserts in Africa. There's more aluminum put in the atmosphere from the deserts in Africa than anything else on the planet. And they've literally found African dust in California.
I've seen the videos of the dust coming across the Atlantic during the hurricane season and all of that.
Yeah. Anyway. So, as far as the tic-tac-toes go, I mean, I've seen some crazy videos. We've all seen some crazy videos. But when you look at the skyways and you look at the next gen transportation system and understand how, basically flight patterns work and how pilots work, basically on, they have to call it in, here's my flight plan. I'm not doing visual flight routing. I'm doing it, fly by wire. They take the plane up, and then the computer pretty much tells them exactly where to fly, when to fly, and how to land, where to start landing, where to circle, hey, we got to put you in a circle loop. You go over there and circle until we tell you to come and land. If you've never been on a flight, a roller coaster flight, I've been on one. It's just nauseating because the plane levels out for a little while, it banks, and then it levels out, and then it banks, and it levels out.
Yeah, flying into Newark, New Jersey, it's always like that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I went into the LaGuardia, and it was just like, I'm gonna throw up. Like, how much longer are we literally gonna just spin around up here in the air? So, I always ask people when they show me, these racetrack chemtrails, I'm like, do you live near an airport by any chance? I mean, like, how far from an airport do you know? They always say, I don't live anywhere near one. And I just go, okay, whatever. Maybe I'm crazy.
I see a lot more now than I did, but then again, it's years later, too, than I did when I lived near Newark, in New York, New Jersey area. I live, I don't know, an hour and a half from two different airports now. Well, and I take a lot more of them than I used to, but maybe that's because the planes are higher.
Well, let me ask you like a kind of like a back at you question. Do you think it's possible that the chemtrail phenomena not only has to do with like the stuff I was talking about from 88 to 96, the changing of chemicals in all NATO flights worldwide, but what else happened during that time that was unique? How about the fact that we didn't have cell phones with cameras?
We didn't have those, at least I didn't, until I didn't have a cell phone with a camera until 2000. I don't know.
Right, yeah. About anywhere between, if you were an early adopter, maybe 1997. And
they had cell phones in 97?
Yeah, the little flip phones with the little tiny shitty camera.
There were people that had car phones that looked like satellite phones where I lived in 97. Maybe they were just starting to have some of the really wealthy, high-powered business people I knew carried cell phones, but they were still, I mean, I think my first email was like 1998, and my ex's ex was a computer programmer and had us pretty much outfitted with the latest at the time. Maybe it was where we lived, but yeah, I didn't know there was that much cell phone activity that early. That's amazing. What do I know, though? I wasn't paying attention. So
yeah, so like I think that it's a combination of all of the above. That with the growth of the internet, the growth of the airline industry, there's more flights, the NATO thing, plus the fact that now everybody's got a camera in their pocket, and that's so there's very few things that happen that somebody doesn't catch on video nowadays. I think when you consider all of these together, that's why this is such a popular topic that people are fascinated with.
I'm not trying to say it is this or it isn't this.
I'm not either. I could totally be wrong. You know what I mean? Like, I have more questions than I have answers, honestly.
Yeah.
The more I study this, the more I go, well, shit, I cannot explain on-off chemtrails. You know why I can't explain it? And neither can 98 out of 100 scientists who were polled on this. Mick West, he's a chemtrail debunker. And he got with Ken Caldera, a geoengineer. And they did what was called the SLAP study, Secret Large-Scale Aerial Program. Anyway, so they interviewed 100 scientists and asked them if they had any evidence of abnormal amounts of aluminum or barium. Out of 100 scientists, one guy said, yes, I've seen this. When they polled those same 100 scientists, how do you explain breaks in contrails? There were about 17 different answers. That tells me a lot. That tells me that they certainly don't have that figured out. At the very, some of them were saying it could be turbulence, it could be gravity waves, it could be, rapid downdrafts, rapid updrafts, engine performance issues. they all had different excuses, but none of them, to me, were a good enough answer. So I think that to this day, that's the strongest evidence of there's something shady going on. When you see, tic-tac-toe or not tic-tac-toe, Morse code in the sky where, the plane's literally going on, off, on, off, on, off. That's not atmospheric conditions. Just in my personal opinion, I could be wrong.
That's not more off. I never saw that until I watched Dane Wigginton's documentary, and once I started looking for it, I saw it. But I can't say that I knew when I can't say, oh, it started when I saw it. I have no idea.
The first videos I ever saw that were by a group called Tanker Enemy. And they had several videos of this, and some of them I could kind of explain. Like one was like a plane getting refueled, and then basically like its contrails completely go away, and then they restart, and I'm like, but that's a refuel, like literally the guys are flying like this, and then the guy has to drop out of formation, and then he slowly just descends, and then he takes off again. So yeah, like he literally cut the engines so that he could get out of the wake vortex of a KC-135 and then cut his engines back on. So like that one, I can easily explain that. That makes sense to me. That's obvious. But the dot dash 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 straight line dash 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 straight line, I don't know. Is it gravity waves? Is it updrafts, downdrafts, or is it actually somebody physically injecting chemicals directly into the plume? The definition of chemtrails, I don't know.
Heck, at the beach, we used to see skywriting all the time. Now you don't see it anymore, except way, way up high.
And that's done with paraffin wax. And the ironic part is that kerosene-based fuels are a paraffin. So
okay, well, kerosene is really dirty burning. How does that not screw up jet engines? It's like really.
They do have issues with what's called coking. There's other things like called, FAME contaminations, fatty acid methyl ester. It's like where these new biofuels contaminate, the lines. Tom, shut up. Tom's like, what about when they draw dicks? And I'm like, I saw dicks. Like, like stop it.
Anyway, I probably kept it for a long time, and whoever called in right after you answered my call is probably waiting. So I'm listening, but I appreciate all the time, and thank you very much.
What was your name again? I want to save your number just in case you ever call again.
My name is Sophia.
Sophia, it was nice talking with you. Thank you so much. Great questions. And, I don't have all the answers. So I'm not too proud to say that. You know what I mean? And if you are too proud to admit that you don't know it all, then you got an ego problem. I can't fix that. But yeah, I don't have it all figured out. I like to think I have most of it figured out, but you know what? The day we all agree is the day we could all be wrong, right?
I almost know too much just to be a regular person. I was wondering for a while, but I think you're probably on the up and up.
Well, I appreciate that. I've been called shill and everything else under the sun over the last 20.
I would have to spend 4 years at least educating myself and doing nothing else to know as much as you seem to know. So until I do, I can't necessarily say what you are, but thank you very much for all the information.
All right. I appreciate it, Sophia. You have a great day.
All right.
Thanks for the call.
Jim. Thanks so much.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Great call. Absolutely great call. Now let me figure out. Okay, there's our number. People plus Sophia. I'm assuming you meant I'm a Gemma Climate Ninja. It's Ninga. Is that what you meant, Willie? Good Lord. Bruh. Jim the Climate Ninja. I am your climate ninja. I am here to cut through the bullshit. I am climate ninja. I gotta be careful. This thing is freaking sharp. Oh my god. Imagine that. I cut through my Shure SMP7 or destroyed my damn computer. Hey, how's it going? What you doing?
Doing well, yourself?
Pretty good. Want to fight about it?
Yeah, sure do.
What's your name, man?
Comments in the chats, and I realize that you can't read everything that's going on. And but I when I first saw you today, I'm looking. I got a notification about your program, and I think it looks familiar. And then I realized it. I was following you way back. I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, somewhere around 2016, 17. Except for you had dark hair back then.
Oh yeah, and, it all went gray and went to shit. You know, Graves' disease.
Well, I got none.
Hey, I'm looking better than Jet Li though. Okay, I don't know if you've seen Jet Li, but Jet Li had Graves' disease also, and he went from being looking like Bruce Lee to looking like, I mean, an ancient master. I mean, he literally like lost most of his hair. What hair he has left is gray, and he's shriveled away. So I really dodged a bullet on that.
I did see a picture of him a couple of years ago, and that's a damn shame. You know, me, I have no hair for like 20 years now.
I mean, I almost lost it, bro. I got the thyroid cut out just in time.
Oh really?
Yeah, I don't have a thyroid anymore. It really kind of sucks.
Oh man, my mom had that happen to her. My brother and sister were on thyroid medication. My sister passed away, unfortunately. But I'm blessed. I'm the only one that has my thyroid, and it's healthy because I'm 65 now. I'm almost 66, and I've taken very good care of myself, and I stay away from hospitals and doctors, which I found out from friends of mine like 40 years ago when I had health issues. They were holistic doctors. They became that because they left the AMA. And these guys in the church I was involved with, they opened up my whole world to questioning everything. So the past 45 years, especially when I got out of the military and saw what was going on in there, I question everything. And I want to get to the point, so I don't want to bore people on your show. I just give you a quick background about me. I was recruited at the age of 19. I was just a key punch operator over in Fort Gordon, Georgia, just learning, and I wanted to go to college and everything. Mm-hmm. And I get this recruiter that comes in from the Pentagon wanting to recruit me to just basically type up messages sitting at a computer in the basement of the White House in a little tiny room on Air Force One. That's what I was trained for. But in getting further into the training, what I wound up being involved in, and I couldn't even speak about it until President Trump became president and declassified it. We had a program, this is 1977. The Department of Energy just started at that time, and we had this code mission that we were recruited to called Space Force. Just a name, it was an operation, it wasn't a military branch or anything. And for years and years, I couldn't remember what my classification was. In other words, I had a top secret clearance for what we were doing, because we were actually handling the communications between the nuclear power plants and also our nuclear weapons through a satellite system, which later on became declassified and people knew in the 80s as Star Wars. They came up with that name, and we used that name in 77 in our little operation. It was just names. I guess they got inspired by the movie Star Wars. Yeah. I'm setting you up for a whole reason in saying all of this. But
You're sounding like my dad. My dad was a nuclear missile launch technician who worked for Strategic Air Command when I was born in 1976. I was born on Vandenberg Air Force Base, and he worked.
Were you?
Yeah, and he worked in Cheyenne Mountain. Also.
Okay, then you have a pretty good idea.
I got an idea where you're going with this, but please continue.
Yeah, because I'm just listening to your show and everything, and I could go so many places, but I want to make a couple points for you. You had mentioned that you were on a radio show, and it sounded like it might have been my friend Scott McKay's show. I don't know, Patriot Street Fighter, but that's the network that he was on. And you cleared up something for me, which was very helpful. See, I'm a very busy person. I have a lot of people to ask me a lot of questions because they know my background. And so I didn't follow up very much on Dean Wigington. But my gut was telling me as I'm listening to him and some of the things that he said, I'm thinking to myself, this guy, he's so passionate, but he's like I don't know, so depressing to listen to him, just spewing crap out all the time. I know as much as him, probably a lot more. And then he gets off into this whole ice nucleation thing. And I just decided to start studying that. But then I realized, and here's what I know. And I'm
Are you talking about back when they were like making a big damn deal about artificial ice nucleation and the snowballs that you could light them on fire and all that shit?
Yeah, chemical ice nucleation.
Oh my God.
That's when I realized that either A, he is handled by the CIA, or B, he's around people that are part of the CIA and they're feeding him crap. Because half the stuff that he says and regurgitates, it makes sense if you're going down a specific narrative path. And this is one of the most important things that I want to share with you and your audience right now, is the reason why they've been able to get away with the crap and the lies and the division that they have set forth is they've created a reality for us in this universe, in our particular own Earth, planet terra firma, that we are mirroring back to ourselves is the best way I can describe it. And there is a inherent DNA-born power. It's written in our DNA mathematically, God. A lot of people, when you say the word God, they go all over the place. Well, to me, because I'm also an ordained minister and a theologian, I walked away from all that because I saw the narrative and the control that these people have on even that. And we, as infinite beings, as creators, we're always creating. And the time that we stop creating is the time that we're basically on our path to death. But we actually create our own death because they're mirroring back to us that we have a finite amount of time on this earth, that we have these limitations within ourselves, when we're actually universal, unlimited. And I have found a few documentations of a few people, like one guy in China, that lived at least 350 years old. Other people that have lived longer biblically, it's subjective how long they counted time and things like that. But this whole narrative that's going on right now, I thought about this a couple of days ago to give a great analogy to people that I can explain it to them, because when I talk to people, I've got 45 years of my life as an adult where I've been able to see, experience, and question things like you've listened to your father and some of the things that he's gone through. By the way, how old is your dad?
1950, so 74.
Oh, 74. Okay, so he's a few years older than me. Same generation, though. He
told me all kinds of crazy shit. The stuff going down at Kirkland. He said back in the 70s, they were literally remotely flying Huey helicopters over the Atlas trestle and hitting them with EMPs to test that they had EMP proofed these Huey helicopters. And I'm like, they had UAV freaking helicopters in 1976? What? But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, here's the thing is, okay, 1977, I'm a kid on a computer, but I'm on the internet. It was called the ARPANET. created by Dr. Lawrence Roberts, 1968 UCLA, and we were one of the beta testing grounds. They trained me on, what was it, Korean War, what do you call that, tapes. It was this yellow tape, reel tape, where it would perforate the tape as we're typing up messages and take that reel and put it onto a machine and feed it. And on the other side, it would come out, and then they would translate it. The next few weeks, we were trained on IBM cards. It was a Univac 1710
punch
feeder.
cards. Oh,
we were punching cards and typing on an IBM 29. And then the last part of our training, which I loved, is I'm sitting in front of a screen typing up words and then seeing words from my recipient on the other side. It was a BBS system. And I'm thinking to myself, why the hell did you train me on all these other things? And that's what they did.
Why did we do these? Well, you may need to use them in a redundant system.
Exactly.
In case the first one that actually is cool goes down, we may have to go back to punch cards. So it's it's like the sorry people that had to learn COBOL programming language. It's like, boy, you wasted your time there.
Yeah. And what they told me was, well, in this day and age, which was 2 years after the exit of Vietnam, where most of the people that I was working for were, had a lot of, what do you call it, PTS, drugs, alcohol, and things like that. It was a really quagmire and mess is really what I'm going to quickly explain that what was going on at that time. President Eisenhower, and I just found this out in the past 10 years, what I was actually a part of. President Eisenhower warned us about the military-industrial complex in his, farewell speech, and he also mentioned the medical powers, which is big pharma.
And the universities.
Right. Yeah, so what I realized is one day I'm listening to Trump, and I'm watching, before he won the presidency, I've been in touch with veterans and friends of mine in military intelligence for a number of years, and I found out that this guy was recruited by the military. I said, really? And they told me a couple of generals' names, and I'm like, okay. Because I just, like everybody else, I thought Donald Trump was just this New York guy, real estate magnate. I did have a little interaction with his company, but no big deal. But then when I found out that the generals were behind him and what the purpose was, well, here's what I can tell you. We, as Americans, have been living on top of an iceberg of information and operations. And most people, what you see on TV is about 1/10 of 1%. When Trump became president, you were seeing about 5 to 10% of that iceberg, and nobody has any idea of what the other 90% is going on. And that's where a lot of us people in the military and military defense contractors and so forth, communications operators, because I've been involved in a long time. I created the Disney Membership Rewards Program and their first social network for kids 20 years ago, and explained to this company why they needed those things. And basically I was sharing with them by empirical data. It was something that if I didn't explain it to them, somebody else was going to come along in the next year or so and explain it to them. And that was, basically taking the platform of the internet, and because I was on the internet, 20 years, 30 years earlier, I knew and could see what would eventually happen with that, like the Jetsons looking at each other, talking to each other, faxing, and all of that. I was trying to show them how to monetize all that and reward you and I individually for the membership part of it. And I call it membership rewards with permission-based marketing. Well, the military contractors got involved with Disney in the mid-2000s and other companies, and they took it to a level that I never dreamed of, quite honestly. I could have, but I didn't want to go that route. But basically using that as a spy network to spy on everybody. So we've got all these wonderful devices with the SIMs, the IP addresses, and everything, and they know everything. And if people think artificial intelligence is something that's in its infancy, that's what they want you to think. It's way beyond that. So like I use Pilot. I've used it, tested it out a few times on Bing and these other AI machines.
Microsoft Copilot.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I've been testing that, questioning that, and here's what I can tell you. It's they've given us probably, I don't know, probably the maybe fifth generation 20 years ago of what we're using as what we think is their latest and greatest. Elon Musk, and so I'm trying to investigate him now with the AI system. These cars, all of these cars right now, they're Trojan horses. They can all operate autonomously. And there's a movie that Michelle Obama and Barack Obama co-produced for Netflix, and it can give you a little bit of an idea where you see all these Teslas that are empty and slamming into each other and creating a dam on the island.
I watched
Did
it.
you? Yeah.
Yeah.
I tried to. I kept fast forwarding.
It kept getting, they kept hearing that high pitch sound, and I'm like, that's ultrasound. That's an ultrasonic weapon. This is a mass distraction technique. If they actually wanted to do some damage, they would use infrasound. But yeah, I can identify with a lot of what you said, because most people don't realize that Google was literally founded by DARPA. The Google Earth keyhole markup language is from Project Keyhole, which was a CIA DoD satellite spy system. And basically the Google Earth files that I was creating to map out their spy facilities were designed specifically for that, for gathering intelligence and then displaying it for other military individuals. And when activists like myself started using it for purposes other than just showing, hey, here's where I went on vacation, they were like, shut this shit down. And they took the Google Earth API away from everybody. I had to start from scratch and use like an open source 3D globe to, and then hope. And I was literally like fighting with the developers of Cesium to say, I warned you guys 3 years ago that this day would come. And now everybody who had a Google Earth website is looking for something, and you bastards haven't got off your laurels to, go and, make it work. So I'm splitting time between Leaflet and Cesium. Leaflet's 2D, Cesium's 3D, to be able to do that. But yeah, man, the internet's a crazy ride, and people are constantly, being shady. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. Well, this is my first opportunity to get into a show, and I'm going to say something relatively quickly and inform people of a couple things. I wanted to preface everything, my life experience from what I'm about to tell everyone, so they can understand something. And I want you all to bear in mind, keep in mind the iceberg. That iceberg is very important. I have been involved since the 1990s with understanding that we don't have our own government. It's very easy to see. This is a covert operation, iceberg-wise, that a lot of us knew the history of it when they don't know the full history. I've got some people that have taken me back now to like when the Constitution was actually written and enacted after the Declaration of Independence. And we basically, the British beat us right then and there as well. They brought over these things called attorneys and bankers. And then
so, you honestly, got me there.
We do not know what it's like to be a constitutional republic, because we never have been. And if you think about Coke or Pepsi, Democrat, Republican, and at one point I used to wonder, what the hell is the Democratic Republican Party back in the 1800s? It was a psyop, so to speak. Getting people used to and thinking of, two sides of the same coin, so to speak.
I mean, I've always heard it, and correct me if I'm wrong, that basically the Constitutional Convention was a freaking military coup. And they made sure that, while they were writing it all up, that Jefferson's ass was in France because he would screw it all up.
Yeah, I've heard that too. I'm a person of, it's what I call, like Jesus talked about, the Spirit of truth. He'll lead you and guide you into all truth. Because even Jesus spoke of another person beyond him. He said, well, another entity, saying, howbeit when he, the Spirit of truth, has come, he will take that which the Father has shown him and show it unto you. He will not speak of himself, but greater works he will do in my name, because I go to the Father. To me, that Spirit of truth,
hold on. Just for 1 second.
Sure.
Andre Nadeau, or Nadeau, or whatever your name is. I see your comment from Facebook. I dare you to call this show. Just give me your area code and I will hang up on this dude right now to deal with your dumb ass. Because first of all, I don't know who the fuck you are. I have never read any of your research that you claim that I read. I don't know why you got such a boner for me, but the nerve of you to come in here after blocking me on Facebook, after talking all the shit you do in your private chats. I don't even go on Facebook, okay? Because, I used to be a people person till people ruined it. And those people are people like you. So Andre Nadeau, Andre my nuts. I double dog dare your bitch ass to call into this show right now. Otherwise, you are a leech of my works about the patents list. Prove it, bitch. Call my show right now. I apologize. This son of a bitch has been running all over the internet for the better part of 4 years, claiming some kind of fucking crazy conspiracy. And I don't even know, does he have a website or what the fuck he's talking about? But I would love to actually hear your voice say this shit to my face right now. Sorry.
Well, no, that's okay, because I'll tell you something. Anytime you're going to get interested or have someone speak to you about a topic that's of mass importance, you're going to get shit like that from people. And they're going to waste your time and burn up a lot of your valuable time.
Are you watching the chat? You can't probably see it. It's on Facebook. He says, since 2004, you are leech of what I do, dum. Like, bro. Like, prove it. Come on here. Tell me what to look up. I'll put it up on the screen. Put your balls where your mouth is, Andre, or shut up. The thing he thinks that I'm going to do is like go and ban him, but I don't ban anybody. I don't block anybody. I'm not scared of anybody. I will debate anybody. So Andre, bring your ass on the show. Like, don't be a bitch and talking. You sound like you're freaking from Finland or something. Ha ha, dum. You took my work since 2004. You are big dum. Easy, LOL. I'm sorry. I'm a grown child, man. I can't help it.
Quick question for you. Are you familiar with a gentleman by the name of Derek Johnson? Rattletrap 1776 is his name on Facebook. He's a friend of mine, fellow veteran of military intelligence. He wrote a book. It's out there. He's met with President Trump 3 times now, not this year, but last year. And he's explaining how by law and executive orders, military orders, that Donald Trump is commander-in-chief currently of the United States military, and actually was sworn in as the 18th president, I believe, of the Constitutional Republic, pre-1871. The reason why I'm bringing this up is for very specific reasons. You can go to his website where he's put all the information there, thedocuments.info, and you can see all the laws, orders, executive orders that have been put forward for all of this to happen. And this is what I call the iceberg. Now, that little tip
You said
was before Donald Trump,
ddocuments.info?
ddocuments.info. Real simple. And he wrote a book, he's self-publishing it, called The Midnight Rider Rides Again. And it's just all of that information on the documents.info with some explanations, because he's like several people that I know from the intelligence community. We're reporters. We report what is. We might add our opinion, and we'll let you know it's our opinion. But most of what we say, like what I just said, may sound insane and outrageous to a lot of people. But here's what I can tell you. If anyone, all these people talk about Trump and what he's done and how arrogant he is, and all I can say is if people really think that Donald Trump simply walked away and they're letting him, they're taking him to task and trying to bring him down, here's the whole point of this iceberg. We need our government of a constitutional republic. There's been an operation going on since Eisenhower that I was a tiny, tiny fractional part of it. Didn't even understand, because in an operation like that, here's what I can tell you. Every day of that operation, I was threatened. All of us were threatened with, back then we didn't have Gitmo. We just simply had, what was it? Somewhere in Kansas, but Leavenworth, there we go. But we're talking about traitor. When you're in an above top secret operation, which some people in the military are so asinine to think that because they were never part of it, and they may have 3 bars on their and 3 stars on their lapel, that they would know. No, you don't know. You don't know what you don't know. And unless you're part of it, and I couldn't speak of it until President Trump said, hey, we've got Space Force, I about near shit my pants. I went, wow. Because I had long forgotten about that operation.
Like, my dad was basically like, well, at Strategic Air Command, we had, in Cheyenne Mountain, we basically Space Force is always, before they gave it a name and made it separate, and even now that they've given it a name and make it separate, the space domain is in control of the U.S. Air Force, and it always has been. It used to be based directly out of Cheyenne Mountain. That's obviously not decentralized now. It's not the same as it was before. But Cheyenne Mountain, NORAD, as Willie's accurately pointing out. For those who don't know what the hell we're talking about, NORAD's the people who track Santa Claus every freaking every Christmas, because they own the space fence. They track all all of the satellites. Trigger warning, flat earthers. We're talking about things. Let me translate this into flat earther. They track all of the satelloons, because there are no such thing as satellites. All right, or the flat earthers. Okay. So yeah, that they were doing that then. When my dad would launch Minuteman III missiles out into the Pacific Ocean, they would, track the trajectory of it and all that. And he worked in the silos. He transported missiles and, worked at Cheyenne Mountain. So, yeah, he's told me a lot of stuff that, he's basically like, I can never leave the country, like, ever again for the rest of my life. And I was like,
oh, well,
what the hell are you talking about? And he's like, yeah, I couldn't even go to the Bahamas if I wanted to. Like, I was like, well, damn, that's crazy. I'm 47 years old, which means that 45 years ago you got out of the military. Like, what are you talking about? But yeah, apparently that's still true. Them's the breaks.
There are some people that were in operations like that. And what I can tell you is, when President Eisenhower, and this happened very quickly, and people could literally do a little due diligence in homework and find out that he did the handoff to Kennedy, the nuclear codes and all that stuff, but he told him in detail, in briefings, of course, about what was going on with what we now call the deep state. And a few months later, President Kennedy goes to the Waldorf Astoria Hotel and has a press conference and thinking that, hey, I can get the press behind me and they can hold it, or the entire government accountable. That's why he went to the press, because he thought, if I can make this public, if I can get the press to scrutinize us, this will all be exposed in a very short period of time. Well, we all know now that he was very wrong about that. And yet, the operation that President Eisenhower created, at the time it kind of had from what I understand from these guys, they were before me, it was called the President's Private Army. And it transitioned to a few generals thinking and brainstorming and saying, what do we do? How can we continue on? Obviously, with Johnson, they knew that the threat of nuclear war and any other president after that could be in jeopardy. And they also knew that if we went thermonuclear, if anybody came in with thermonuclear, well, the planet was done. It's just that simple. And so there need to be checks and balances put in place to make sure that never happens. And also at the same time, while not upsetting, and no one had knowledge of this in any way, shape, or form, but also that our nuclear power plants would not be used against us, because there was already plans. When you know about 9/11, you've heard about some ideas that they came up with in the 60s. Matter of fact, with Kennedy, they wanted to proposing to crash a plane and saying that Russia did it, the Soviet Union, did it, and that we were going to go to war that way. Obviously, that never panned out. So these protections by a very select group of generals and soldiers that people don't know about, nobody wants to talk about it. The only reason why I've started talking about it a little bit is because I get so tired of the level of inanity, lies, deception, and stupidity of just the general public when they speak with authority about things that they don't have a fucking clue what they're talking about. They heard it on CNN. They may have heard it from a conspiracy theory channel or whatever.
QAnon.
Here's what I
Good.
Yeah, well, here's the next point. I looked, and I was looking for my security clearance because I wanted to find out, why can't I find it in the military? I was looking Army. Then I finally realized, oh, wait a minute, I was part of the Department of Energy. Lo and behold, I go to the Department of Energy website, and to this day, Q security clearance is still there. And Q security clearance is counterintelligence and intelligence for the United States military through the Department of Energy. Now, why would the Department of Energy be part of a military operation? By the way, previous to that, it was the Department of Atomic Energy. They closed that down and they reformed it into the Department of Energy with the specific goal of controlling the grid, as you know, to protect it from security threats, and also the upcoming, which was already there way back in the 40s, I believe, these what we call satellite systems, whatever anybody else want to call them. And by the way, in my personal opinion, from what I've seen, known, and understood, the round ball earthers and the flat earthers are correct, but you both are half correct. And I won't get into that, but people give them something to chew on a little bit. But my point is about this Q intelligence thing. When I started seeing this pop up on the boards in 2017, it kind of struck me, the codes and the cryptic nature of everything. And then once the mainstream media started coming out and attacking it, it made me want to dig in further. And that's why I started looking for my security clearance, because I realized there were three of us were being sent to Washington. I was the only one with this security clearance. I even asked my commander, I said, what kind of clearance is this? The two buddies that I'm going with, they don't have that. He said, that's a need to know, son, and you don't need to know. I'm like, okay. I can't even know what my own security clearance is. I guess that's what they do with 18-year-old kids. You follow orders, you do what you're told, you type up what you're told, and if you deviate, and there's some things in other parts of the government that I learned about Like one of the things was for a long time, the IRS was not an official part of the government, and I could prove it. And how could little old me prove it? Well, it was drilled into my head on a daily basis. Son, if you fill out a form and it doesn't have an OMB, Office of Management and Budget number at the bottom, anything that you write on, you could go to prison, because that is something that's not an official document. And we have, through the general accounting offices, we have to turn in all those forms. Well, at the time during the 90s, I was learning about all this things about patriots. A lot of people were getting out of paying taxes and some becoming sovereign citizens. And I'm looking back going, I scrutinized everything. A lot of things that they were saying made sense, but the one thing that I looked at and I'm like, yeah, you're going to tell the government you're no longer going to pay taxes? Are you nuts? But on a hunch, I just went down to the IRS office and I started looking at all the forms, and none of them, lo and behold, had an OMB number on them. And I'm like, holy shit, they have no OMB numbers. I know for a fact, and I pointed it out to one of the instructors, and he said, really? And I said, yeah, if they don't have an OMB number. I finally did find one form for the IRS, which was an addendum supplement, Form 2555, that had an OMB number on it. And it was not a requirement. It's just if you felt like attaching it to your income tax, you could. And I thought, what is that? The only OMB number that existed for the IRS at the time was, guess what? Their form reporting to the government. So fast forward, September 11th, all these things happened. There were so many things happened on September 11th, people have no idea. What you've heard on the mainstream is the tip of the iceberg. But one of the things that happened was the Patriot Act that we all know about came out. Well, I'm looking at this Patriot Act, and quite honestly, I didn't want to read through 200 pages of doublespeak. So I had a hunch about something because people were saying our freedoms are being taken away, our freedoms are being taken away. I go down to the IRS office. All of a sudden, magically, all the forms have OMB numbers on it. Well, I hadn't filed taxes in a number of years. I immediately started filing because I said, I don't know how they did it. They used this Patriot Act to bring this rogue organization into their organization, what they call the government, and I have to comply. And since then, I've learned so much more about that. And my point being about saying all of this is right now, with Trump being commander-in-chief, they recruited him. They're in charge of this operation. They knew that Hillary Clinton was going to take us into thermonuclear war in 2016. That's why she was pushing against Russia. We also know that they stopped the theft. The military literally stopped the theft. She was ahead by about 5 million votes, and they just shut down all of these votes coming in from out of the country. Now, why did they let the military's monitoring all this? Why did they let Biden win in 2020? It's part of the operation. It's a sting operation. And that sting operation means, hey, Trump, and that's why they kept saying, the news media saying, oh, Trump's never going to leave office. He's never going to leave. He's a dictator. He's this, he's that. Okay, well, he left. He left what we believe to be the presidency of the United States, right? Mm-hmm. It's just a foreign corporation on U.S. territory. It's not part of our United States. But how are you going to change an entire government, the mass government that we call government around the world? And Dr. Deepak Chopra had something called the mass hypnosis of social conditioning, and everyone believes what the United States and what this machine has put out for the past 100 years, and especially in the past 50 years in the psyche, and baby boomers like me and other people. Well, I grew up knowing and understanding that, hey, these spooks, these men in black, they exist, and if you invent something, and I've been around a lot of inventors who invented water, Stanley Myers, water dune buggy, and all these other different people. All these technologies exist, they work wonderfully, and then they get shut down. Well, we're at a precipice and a point, and here's what I can tell you. Thank God that there are people out there in this subterranean iceberg, and 95% of World War III that we're in right now is subterranean. And it's right there. If you go to the documents.info, you'll see that the military funding and training for subterranean warfare is written in those documents. You will see, and if you go back and look and understand, Trump, while he was at the Washington, D.C. White House, declares himself a wartime president. If a commander-in-chief, someone who is president, makes a declaration, he didn't say, I, Donald Trump, declare I am a wartime president. He just said, I guess I'm a wartime president. And he's been doing that in such a way to give people the signals and know and understand that there's something beyond that going on. Now, how do I know this? In the documents.info, you will see, and if you listen to Derek, he explains it. This man is brilliant. He has a photographic memory, and everything that he puts out there, he's just repeating what is in government. The Law of War manual was changed for the first time in years and years. In 2015, before Trump even announced becoming president, Law of War manual was changed for the United States military that separated the powers of what? The president and the commander-in-chief. They do not have to be the same person. People have not a freaking clue that even exists that way. And they did that for a specific reason. We are in the midst and towards the end of a military operation. And if people would just open up their eyes a little bit, because every day, if you think about it, I feel like it's the Ashton Kutcher punked show. When you see what they're doing in Washington, D.C., the insanity and level, the depth, breadth, scope, and magnitude of depravity, of lawlessness that these people have, all of these people should be in jail for what they have done, not what they supposedly done. There's evidence. If me sitting here in my home in California has enough evidence on my computer to convict and put these people at Gitmo with full evidence, what does the military really have on them? That's why when Trump said, we have it all, we caught them all, people just think those are words. But if anybody ever thinks that Donald John Trump walked away from the presidency and now he's playing victim and trying to win back the presidency, I got news for you. I could be wrong. I could definitely be wrong. But to my understanding, everything I know, this campaign to run for president is to show people he's able to get out there on a daily basis and they can't stop him from communicating with the public. And when we just had those, the votes last week, the Super Tuesday, every time that he wins a state, he's putting out a lot of information to people. And also against Biden's numbers. Why? We need to show people, he needs to show people the military. And by the way, when I say the military, there are two militaries. There is the regular military, which has primarily been operated by the deep state. Now, the military that I'm talking about, which is also in the documents.info, is 1.2 special forces, 1.2 million special forces, reserves, and other people that were called up to duty the day of the election. And why? Because election interference happened. It was an invasion of foreign countries and foreign agents within our own government that conducted that.
Okay.
And everyone says, there was no evidence.
What was your name again?
Go ahead.
Devin? What was your name again?
Oh, I'm sorry, Sterling.
Sterling?
Yep.
I've had 7 calls during the 42 minutes you've been talking.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what? And I just want to say real quickly, because here's what I want people to understand real quickly. I'm not talking politics here. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I don't believe in any of that. I'm an American. I have fought. I love my country. I want all of us to be in love, joy, peace, and happiness. But I want people to wake up and think for themselves. And when somebody tells you something, like you and I both know, these chemtrails in the air, people like Dane Wigington are out there, and they're counterintelligence operators doing things that are against us and not for us and appearing to be that way. And with that, I'll say good night.
I appreciate the call, Sterling.
Oh, you take care, Jim.
All right. Thanks, man.
Bye.
Yeah. That was a lot. I might have to listen to that back. Popcorn was a bad dude. Subterranean warfare and all that. That's something else. Anyway, Andre Nato, your bitch ass still listening? Just curious, because I'm over here looking, not at where Dane blocked me, but explain this to me. So Andre's little bitch ass blocked me on Facebook because he doesn't want me to see any of the stuff that he's writing. And then I go to my own damn Facebook wall. All right, get out of here. And I see him and I can't even respond. I could send a message to him. You lose control, dude. It's like, why aren't you calling in, Andre? What are you scared of? You're going to convince everybody that I stole your work, which appears to be a Google Drive full of all kinds of fucking weird shit. You posted this. I've already downloaded it, by the way, just now. Just so I'm going to you've been accusing me of this for so long. Now I'm literally, and just want you to know, Andre, you've been wrong all of this time that I stole your work. But now I'm going to download this and I'm going to make every fucking bit of it open source. And I'm not going to give you any credit for it because you're a bitch. How about them apples? Ironic. I do want to see what your video over here about is. 2021, Andre Nato showed Jim Lee lies about chemtrails and my works on topics 2 May. Okay. And then he links to, is this the same Google Drive? Yeah, it's the same Google Drive. So you ain't trying to hide this, bruh. All right. Let's see what Andre's got to say.
Fuck, I cannot. I've now hit my.
Oh wow, nice audio effect there.
These people are ignorant. I mean, just ignorant as fuck. I cannot. I've now hit my F word limit for this video. I probably should roll it back just to her. But yeah, the reason I generally don't talk about chemtrails is because it is the most complicated topic of all that I cover. I know more about this topic than anybody on YouTube that talks about it. And I just loathe talking about it because extensive list of patents, geoengineering, and watch.org. What did Dane Wigington send his minion morons or the bots? Because he literally pays for bots that comment on my articles and anything I do. I made that list of patents that's on Dane Wigington's website. Stop talking about fucking Dane Wigington on my fucking video before I fucking ban you. John.
Oh shit, hold up. Oh, that's priceless. I told you guys, did I not tell you I look like fucking Skeletor? I need that audio effect. I need to sound like that all the fucking time. I'm dead serious. I don't know who this Andre Nato guy is, but he's crazy as fuck from Canada, and he made a video that made me laugh my balls off. I'm just saying. I make a home website and share it on MRC.
One more, John, I know you're mod. I see you in chat. The next sumbitch that drops a link to Geoengineering Monitor, geoengineeringwatch.org, or talks about Dane patent list that he stole from me, that I made, that he took credit for on InfoWars, kick them sons of bitches, because I'm going to get triggered. And I don't go to a safe space. This is my safe space.
listen to this dumb.
So they're gonna get the hell out.
Listen to this dumb motherfucker here. Cool, laugh all you want, but you look dumb right now. I think it's fucking hilarious. You obviously take yourself way too seriously, Andre, and you don't have any balls. Like, you are a ballless Canadian coward who have been literally trolling me while blocking me, talking shit on Facebook. I don't care. I don't know who you are. I don't care who you are. I've never read any of your shit. You don't even have the balls to call my number, which is right on the screen, and say it with your chest. Say it with your chest, Andre. Don't be a bitch. Don't be a bitch. That's all I'm saying. Don't be a bitch. But I do think your video is funny and hilarious. So I'm going to finish it.
So I can continue with this video. So, John, you have full DEFCON 1 launch orders on any Dane Wigging commenter for the remainder of this video. Thank you.
Oh, it's freaking great. You got another one? I saw you just like posted in the chat, so let me go refresh this. He's like deleting shit as we. I mean, look, this dude, how many videos have you made about me? I mean, like, my name is Andre Nato, Nads, and Jim, and not Jim Lee, and this is a part of my story about Hurricane Harvey. Oh God, I'm not playing your stupid fucking video. This ain't the you get fucking attention on. What do you got? 487 subscribers. Bam! I'll hit you up with a subscription. Are you happy now? Like, my God, I'm done with you. I'm done with you. That's all I gotta say. Let me see this here. Andre, you such a bitch. Yo, this Jim. What's up, man? You called like 5 times while dude was talking for 42 minutes straight.
I'm sorry, bro.
No, you're good. What's up, man?
Are you still online or what?
Yeah.
I can hear you in the background. I'm outside now. I can hear you online.
Yeah. Well, Andre's bitch ass wouldn't come on, call in. I mean, dude's been talking shit on Facebook for 5-6 years now, and then decided to show up in my live stream, but hasn't got the cojones to actually call me. So
he's a bitch ass.
Yeah, I know. Spineless fucking Canadian.
He put a black voice on you.
I thought it was kind of cool, man. Like.
It was.
Anyway, I'm just gonna talk real slow like this for the rest of the show.
Yeah, I just walked outside to smoke a cigarette, and
I was literally gonna do the same. I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna pause this bitch and I'm gonna hit the be right back button and just dip out on all y'all.
Yeah, are you still online?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I am.
Well, I mean, if you don't want to be online, you don't have to be online, man. I put a bunch of stuff online to try to get other attention on other things, but I'm one of those guys that read a lot of stuff, and I see a lot of stuff other than just what we see in the sky. But I watched your video today with maybe yesterday with Bigtree, Bigtree, and very good. It was very good. I like how you bring us up, you brought us down, you brought us back up, brought us back down. That was pretty good. But I'm one of those guys that sit at home and doesn't do anything because I'm on disability, and I watch the sky every morning. I get up, I see stuff, you can see the sky is blue. 10, 30 minutes later, you start seeing planes flying, and then the sky turns colors. It turns white. Then all of a sudden, it's whited out. And other days, you can see planes flying, and you can see what we call the contrails, or what the government will call the contrails, where planes are up at a certain height, where what do you say, the water condensation and that stuff happens.
Yeah. Like you're talking 32,000 feet, you know, like 32,000 up to about like 42,000.
Yeah.
Depends on where you are, honestly, because at the equator, the tropopause, or like the division of the troposphere and the stratosphere, is like around 40 to 42,000 feet. And then as you get towards Canada, it actually gets lower. So it's closer to like 38,000 feet, 34,000 feet. Jeff, my meteorologist friend, he literally found one day we saw the stratosphere was as low as 25,000 feet.
Right.
So I mean, like that's just insane.
Towards the North Pole. Towards the North Pole.
Yeah, like as you start getting closer to the North Pole, it just gets lower and lower and lower.
Lower and lower and lower. There's probably a reason for that, but that's probably a reason why a lot of people can't go to the North Pole. But I live in North Carolina, and if you walk out of my apartment and to the right every morning, the sun comes up from the right. It goes down to my left. And you can see, like, every morning that, or not every morning, but whatever morning they decide to fly, they fly to my right, where the sun's coming up. And the sun keeps coming up and goes over top of the apartment complex and goes to your left. And they're always flying back in from the sun. And it always blows my mind. Where are they flying from if they're all flying from the tail is always coming from the sun, and they're always going straight in front of me, every single plane. So I don't know what direction that means. I have no idea. If you say,
can you pause for 1 second?
If the sun comes from the east, then that would be from the south. That would be from the west to the north. So that would be from the south. Why is every plane flying from the south, and they're releasing whatever they're releasing from the plane? And I got a pretty good open airspace where I can see. I got pictures of circles around the moon and around the sun. And they and you said today too that where they don't fly at night, but around here sometimes they do fly at night.
I mean, that's just an idea they have. I mean, just because somebody gets a patent doesn't mean they actually ever use the damn thing. You know what I mean? Just because somebody has an idea doesn't mean they actually do the damn thing. I mean, the most recent one.
Well, I didn't say anything about a patent. I didn't say.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, like, the idea of the clouds by day, down by night. You know, Ulrich Schumann said, you know, Hank Halthorey said it. They said it at the British Aeronautical Society, you know, about, you know, making clouds by day and, you know, intentionally flying into ISSRs. That doesn't mean that that's the only way that this could be done. And there are definitely numerous patents for, you know, everything from carbon black injection systems into the afterburner section of, you know, military planes to what they call a carbon make section for even high bypass turbofans, you know, direct sulfuric acid injection into the exhaust plume. I mean, there's so much stuff.
Yeah, but it's not. But I say they do fly at night. Not all the time, because 99% of the time at night you can see the stars.
Yeah,
and it's like
that's the way it is here. Like, you know, in in Sumter, South Carolina, and in Manning, and you know, Hartsville, bro, whenever the sun, it'll be cloudy the whole damn day, and then magically, like, there's all the stars and all the clouds are gone, and you're like, what the fuck is going on here? This is
What
just
happened?
And when I was a kid, dude, and I mean, not even just when I was a kid, like less than 10, 15 years ago, usually it was the exact opposite. It was like, more sunny during the day. And then as it got towards the evening, all the transpiration and evaporation and all the condensation from the trees, you'd have thunderstorms at sundown. Do you have that in North Carolina?
Well, in Virginia, yeah.
In Virginia?
We've had night storms. Like
it would always be every night. I mean, like, especially if you live in high mountains, like come nightfall, like as the sun's going down, that's when the storms would roll in. And now it's the exact opposite. Like,
yeah, I'm 50. We're about right the same age. I think I heard you. I think
you 47.
Yeah. So I grew up in Virginia, and that was about the same thing. And that was from, like you were talking about, cars giving off exhaust, and that probably went up in the sky and got into the clouds or whatever.
Oh no, I think when I was talking about car exhaust, it was just like, for all the people bitching about chemtrails, like if you live in a big city and you're sitting in rush hour traffic, you're inhaling way more nanoparticles than all of, you know what I'm saying?
But what I'm saying is that at night, rainstorms, something like that could maybe have caused rainstorms. All that getting up in the atmosphere. But we didn't have stuff like what it is during the day where they fly over, and then the next day it rains.
Hold on a second. Andre, now I wasn't going to ban you. Like, I don't ban people. Like, my list of people, and I've been on Facebook, I've been doing this for like 15, 20 years. I maybe have like 5 people that I've banned ever. But simply because you had the nerve, you've been talking shit for 5 years, you've got me blocked while talking shit, and people send me screenshots of all the nasty shit you said and taking credit for everything I've ever done. It's more than 5 years, actually. Now that you've come here, and now that I've given you the opportunity to literally call this show, and then you have the nerve to say, we already talked, which is a blatant fucking lie. If you think I'm going to allow you to continue to post on my Facebook page,
no, don't block them. Don't block them.
I'm tempted. I mean, I'm tempted to just ban them.
Don't block them.
I mean,
Let
what?
Keep talking.
Little bitch.
No, don't block them.
Yeah, you're right. Let it fly.
It's called free speech. Let him keep talking his crap, man. Because he really, the only thing he's doing is trying to make himself look better. He's not really. Nobody's really paying any attention to him. If he wants to say something that he really.
I mean, you're always gonna have haters, and the more popular you get, the more you're gonna get, more haters you're gonna get.
Exactly.
So I'm not really that worried about.
It took a lot of nerve for me to call, and I did call a couple times because I felt like I really wanted to say something, but it's there's a lot of stuff that's going on, man. It just doesn't make any sense. And to me, like, you can see the planes fly over and they leave that little trail, and I've videotaped them, and I've seen the ones that fly over and leave the trails that leave the big long trails. And I've sent videos to my congressman or senator in North Carolina and said, give me, this is what time it flies over. Give me the plane, give me the tail number, and give me the cargo on a FOIA request on this plane that's flying over at this time, over Moore County in North Carolina at this time. And he will not respond to that at all. Nothing. He won't give me anything. And then Monkey Rex? Have you ever watched him?
Monkey Works, yeah.
It works. So he also puts up on his little thing where he shows where those planes fly all the time. He's got them on his little plane thing.
Yeah, Sky Glass.
Yeah.
I've got it too. Like, I mean, I could literally just do a show where I just literally track planes, you know, come on here and just show y'all, here's a crazy fucking flights today.
Yeah.
But I mean, honestly, like, I got way too many things I got to do right now.
One more thing I want to ask you, and then one more thing. You know that, I know you know this, but you know that Russia is like 25, 56 miles away from Alaska, right?
Yeah.
Is there any way that you can turn your map that's behind you and put Russia to that point and show the North Pole between the United States, Canada, North Pole, Russia, China?
And how close they are?
Make it look like what it's supposed to look like and not over to the right.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't paint the damn thing. And honestly, it's cut off because the end of you know, the Siberian Peninsula and the end of, you know, Alaska are completely freaking cut off.
But you know what I'm saying, don't you?
I get what you're saying.
Because people always say, like, try to make fun of people that say, "What's flat Earth look like?" Or they say it's nothing. It's not flat Earth. But if you put Russia next to Alaska, where it's supposed to be, and the United States, I watched a congressional hearing not too long ago, and the United States asked for 7.
So you're talking about this right here, the azimuth equidistant projection.
Is it going to be on TV?
Yeah. You talking about this?
I don't know if it's. I think you're behind on my TV.
Well, there might be a little bit of a delay. Depends on what channel you're on. Like, you on YouTube or you on?
Oh yeah, way behind. You hear me?
Yeah. Can you like speed it up and get it up to date? I don't know.
We're back. We're still on the hill numbers part. What'd you say?
Anyway, if you look it up, it's called azimuthal equidistant projection. And that's the one where, you know, most flat earthers, this is what they actually believe, you know, that Antarctica is the ice wall all the way around the edge. So like, if you really want to know what get into the mind of a flat earther, this is what they're talking about. They want to see this map.
Right. I actually have I have one. What is it called?
It's called azimuthal equidistant projection. I just Googled polar centric Earth. And it's the first thing that pops up.
Right.
Because
I have the Gleason News Standard Map of the World, and it was patent allowed November 15, 1892. I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
But anyways, Russia, you know, Russia is over there on the left side of Alaska. And so Russia is above it. And, you know, when they said that so-called spy balloon from China came across with the American writing on it, it went all the way to South Carolina. Well, if they the Canada,
it flew right by my house. Like, I've got a Nikon P900. I was able to like take pictures of it.
Right.
You know, the 83 times optical zoom.
They said it came from China, but they also said it came from Canada, or it went through Canada, and Canada didn't do anything with it. Well,
it went through Alaska. It went through Alaska first, then it went over all of our nuclear silos in Montana after it passed through Canada.
Yeah, it couldn't have gone through Alaska and Canada.
Yeah, it can.
Well,
that's the way the I mean, that's the way the polar vortex works, you know? I mean, it's basically following the polar vortex.
Well, Canada, Canada is about below. Okay, you're saying, okay, I see what you're saying.
The point I tried to make whenever it happened was, if you knew the motherfucker was coming in, why didn't you shoot it down before it got over Alaska?
Oh, there's your map. There's your map. I see your map now.
That the one you talking about?
I haven't never seen that one, but that's pretty damn.
That's the one that the flat earthers believe. And my whole point is, if you really believe the earth is flat and is shaped like this, then carry your ass to the edge of the ice wall like Game of Thrones, climb that fucking ice wall and take a picture over the edge and send it back to me.
See what it is. I see like the North Pole should be a lot bigger. And
this is about projections though. So like I did video game design, I did 3D graphics design, and there are different types of projections. There's like a spotlight projection, there's cube projection, there's spherical projection. So whenever you're actually projecting a texture onto a 3D object, that's called UV mapping. So basically any one of these maps, they're in different projections. So the latest ones are like WGS 84 and EPSG 4263 or some shit like that. But they're all just different ways of, you know, taking a flat object and putting it on a round object. So the flat object is the drawing, the picture of, you know, all the lines and the, you know, the colors and all that. And then the 3D object would be the globe. So how do you take a flat object and stretch it all the way around the earth without it crumpling at the top and bottom? Does that make sense? I mean, it's like anybody who's ever tried to like put gift wrapped on a basketball knows how tough this problem actually is. Because, you know, you end up having to just like scrunch the ends. Anyway, that's
the only thing I see that to me would be like different would be like the North Pole. You would think it's bigger, and then listening to all these people all the time talking about the climate change and what's going on with the climate changing, and the only thing that I always think about is they're talking about the North Pole is unfreezing. That's not the right word. But Russia and China are actually taking boats through, and they come down past Alaska, and they're going south to Mexico. But now with this map, what you're showing me right here, they're coming. They can go either way. So it looks totally different than what I was thinking. But yeah. But the United States asked for 7 icebreaker ships in a military congressional hearing the other day. So they want 7 icebreakers because of the North Pole, and the Russians and the China are riding around the North Pole in their ships. So I don't know. There's a lot going on.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at it from a 3D perspective, it all makes a little more sense that's why we basically lined up all these missile defense radars along the North Pole.
I think I'm with you right now on the work together. All right.
So yeah, if you look at it like that, you know, that basically if you're going to launch a nuclear missile, you're going to do it straight over the poles. So we had this thing called the North Warning System, which was all these missile defense radars. I mapped all these.
That's Russia right there.
Yeah, and then right over here is the Russian radars, and they're all pointed at us, and ours are pointed at them, obviously. You know,
and that's been going on. You talking about Cold War? I mean, that's been going on forever.
This shit's still going on. I mean, this Globus, you know, AN/FPS 129 X-band radar, that's the top of the line right now on the planet, and it's, you know, we've moved it over there. Like, you know, now we have like early warning systems for all this stuff.
people don't know this. You know that, right?
What?
People don't know what we're talking about right now. There's a whole lot of people who do not know that Russia's 56 miles away from us.
Yeah, that. I mean, if you look at it from this direction, it's a hell of a lot closer than most people think. You know,
Exactly.
I mean, most people think of it, you know, like from the just, you know, flat map version, and then they're like, oh, well, it's a long. It's on my damn other maps. I did it twice. My God. But when you look at it like this, it's like, oh, it's so far away. You know, like Moscow's all the way over here, and I mean, shit, that's miles away. But no, when you look at it, you know, as it really is, as a friggin' globe, no, it's not that far away.
No,
it's
right
much closer than you want to think.
Exactly. And people don't understand that, and it drives me crazy.
Well, brother, I appreciate you calling, man. It's like after 10 o'clock. I'm gonna have to like wrap this up.
Yeah, right. I appreciate you calling me back, man.
Yeah, I got two other people who called also, and I mean, I swear, you know, if I do this much longer, I'm gonna regret it tomorrow because I've still got to get my ass ready for bed, and you know, because
I'd love to meet you. I'd love to meet you one day, dude. I'm not too far from you.
Well,
but
if you're ever in the neighborhood, you got my number.
All right, brother. Appreciate it.
All right, man. You take it easy, bro.
All right. Night.
Well, what an oh, you're not gonna let me get away with it, name, huh? Is his name?
Hey, Jim.
What's up, man?
Yeah, we've talked before. This is Bob.
What's up, Bob? How you doing, bro?
Good. How you doing tonight?
Getting kind of worn out. Getting kind of worn down.
Yeah. I wanted to get a call into you here, Jim. Hooked up with this guy online. He's a ex-military aviation mechanic. And he's had some problems long time ago, 2011. Somebody had warned him. He was working on a military aircraft. Somebody warned him about what had been coming, called it Agenda 2020 back then. Anyways, since then, the guy had moved to Colorado. He lives in Colorado now. He bought himself he had some problems with depleted uranium built up in his body. He got the uranium created from him. But he has a Radiacore 102. It's a Geiger counter.
Yeah.
So what he did was he took some snow samples, and he planned on buying this a while back. Was saved up the money. It really isn't that expensive, but he took some snow samples from 2 years ago, and also bought himself a working microscope. Looked at what's going on in the snow samples, and you know, we're not microbiologists, Jim, and I really don't hook up with very many guys or friend very many people online. But you and I have talked before. We talked about ship tracks and all that stuff. I don't know if you remember, and my theory, you know, about the bunker fuel and what they do with the deuterium and all that. Anyways, back to John. He's identifying a lot of stuff in this microscope that isn't right. And I told him about you. I said, you've got some of the most comprehensive data out there. He talked about Dane Wigington a little bit, and I said, well, yeah. He says, I don't know about Dane so much, but I'll tell you what, Jim Lee would be a guy you'd want to talk to. He's showing, well, they're talking about Morgellons too, and these black hairs and these different things. And he's identifying them in some of these samples of snow. And he took some recent samples, looked at them also, He's been working on this for, I don't know, probably a month now. But I wanted him to somehow get in contact with you. His name is John Kankes, I think he pronounces his name. And he might be somebody worth talking to with what he's looking at in these microscopes. You might be able to help him out with getting him into the right frame of mind or right direction on what he's actually looking at in these microscopes. He's uncovering some pathogens here that don't look normal. Some of them look synthetic, some, and it's very strange. And when he dried them out, he added a little bit of salt, water, a little salt, and some reverse osmosis water to it, and some like a molasses. It's like a starter for baby goats. And he put a drop of that in there, and on a dry slide with no activity, and all of a sudden this stuff just bloomed and went crazy. So I said to him, well, John, what's going to happen if you put a drop of ivermectin on there? So he did that, and the swimmers in the slides on the microscope, they all quit swimming. I don't know if they died, but the strange hairs, the Morgellons hairs, they sprouted, they rooted out, they did actual growth after that treatment. So might be worth something to look at, Jim. I think you have the mind to figure that out, at least to get them pointed in the right direction.
Give him my email, Jim@ClimateViewer.com. Tell him to send me something. I'll check it out.
I'll do that, Jim. All right. I know you're tired, so I'm about ready to hit the sack too. So from Southern Michigan, Bob here, and we're out.
Appreciate it, Bob. You have a good night, brother.
You too.
All right, let me save his number. All right, we got time for one more. Then I'm gonna call it a night. Because I see my brother called, and he's been trying to figure it out all damn night.
Hello, it's Tyler.
Tyler, how's it going, brother?
What's up, Jim? How you doing, brother?
Pretty good, man. You're the last caller.
I didn't think I was. I was watching the feed. So, how you doing?
Getting a little wore out. I needed to get by with a little help from my friends tonight. Get me distracted from like raging on fucking chemtrails. Calling me, shill this and paid actor that. So this has been therapeutic. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Understandable. I know it's been a minute since, when I kind of chimed in on the chat, the guy was talking about cars. Cars and climate are always tied together, so I was like, hey, here I am. Might as well.
So, anything specific you had on your mind?
Well, I was just curious if, I wish folks would look into the driver monitoring systems that are coming into play. They're becoming mandatory, like catalytic converters were back in the day, and how the feds are going to be handing over the ability to shut down vehicles.
Well, they've already started that with the insurance companies, like, trying to get you to opt in. Like, hey, we're going to do you a favor and your rate will go down, if you just let us monitor everywhere you go at all times. And
yeah, this is time of the 1,000 though, brother.
Yeah.
They're going to be willing to, not only are they going to be willing to, they are able to shut your car down.
Now, they've been able to do that since like freaking the like late 90s and early 2000s. I mean, there were, you know, DEF CON and Black Hat Convention dudes that were, you know, hacking cars through OnStar and, you know, all of that stuff back then. Like even before OnStar.
I mean, that's how I got my job. So, I mean, it's a thing, you know, if you learn how to turn wrenches, know how the motor worked, and had a, you know, predisposition to.
I mean, if you got a powerful enough magnet, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I know
even on old cars, you got a powerful enough magnet, you can stop that car.
But now it's done off of facial recognition. I think people aren't really quite getting that, you know, and it's beyond EVs. EVs are a step to it, but you know, we got a term in industry called geofencing.
Yeah,
that's going to be a real thing. You know, it's not about it's going beyond what I think consumers are really up to snuff with when it comes to that kind of stuff. You know, it's a real tech. It's out there now. Whether it's an ICE car, an internal combustion engine, or an EV. They're you know, the media is pushing it like all this tech is going to be coming in as EVs come in. No, it's here. It's on your ICE vehicle. It's there. You know, we've already test bedded a lot of that stuff on internal combustion. And once we put brakes and throttles on wire, we were there. So.
Yeah, I can fully agree with that, dude.
It's very frustrating because, I mean, it's, a lot of people look up, but they rarely look down, you know, as far as technology is concerned. Like you're driving the test bed for what they're going to be selling you later, unfortunately, whether it's, you know, EVs or not, you know, planes or not, but that's what, you know, the mind goes crazy when they look in the sky, but when they jump in their car, they're like, I got the latest and greatest. I'm like, yeah, do you though?
Have you really thought this through?
Right. It's like, yeah, I started putting a computer in my pocket.
No, I'm going out and get a air-cooled Volkswagen Beetle, and I'm going to like hoard those things.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm you know me, I'm still a fan of electric. You know, like if you're a prepper, DC, you know, self-generated electricity, you want to, you know, back up your home. Do not be scared or propagandized by what electrics can do for you. But as far as like how they are twisting that technology, which has been around for a long time, and one of the, you know, first vehicles were electric. I mean, that's a real problem that to me, you know, I mean, we were propagandized to run internal combustion over the power of an electric motor, but now we're being resold it, you know, it's being resold to us, and it's a real problem. I mean, if you're a real prepper and you want to, I mean, double down on EV, but it needs to be off the grid EV. I really wish people would just kind of deep dive into off the grid EV, because what that could do for you. I mean, you can generate your own electricity, you can't manufacture your own gasoline.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I mean, like at the end of the day, like I'm waiting for, you know, honestly, like the graphene batteries. Like it's really going to revolutionize everything. Of course, graphene's a dirty word, but the first time I heard about the invention of graphene, I was like, now when they make fucking batteries out of this, it's going to change the world. Because you're talking about something that is a supercapacitor that can be charged almost instantaneously and can hold that charge for an extremely long time and is practically weightless. Yeah. That's what
true, but I mean, there's always the law of thermodynamics, right? So like you can't break that law. So it sounds good on paper, but I mean, it's the same. I agree with graphene, but I mean, batteries have been around longer than internal combustion has been around.
Yeah, but I mean, essentially, you know, the black carbon batteries that are found in freaking ancient Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Are
absolutely
they're almost identical to, you know, what they're talking about today. I mean, they're literally talking about using carbon black. in your driveway to turn your driveway into a backup battery. You know, like literally the concrete, the asphalt of your driveway is a battery made of carbon black. And
agreed.
So the same is true of graphene, which is mostly elemental carbon. It's just, you know, the way it's structured. Anyway, well, I won't get too deep into it, but yeah.
No, it's fine. I mean, I mean, it's like internal combustion. It's stoichiometric. It's 14.7 to 1. I mean, that rule's never changed. Whether it's your lawnmower or your car, it's stoichiometric. I mean, anybody who's a nerd wants to go into it. It's the same tech, kind of a fundamental whittle down. The problem is it's been around. That knowledge has been known for so long. Before any consumer gets it, it's already been manipulated, just like internal combustion was. I mean, it's I get it. I like it. I like the idea of it, but I mean, it's nothing new. You know, I mean, the idea of to me, it's a mental shift of like, if you want to break free, you know, and be self-sustainable, really entertain the idea of, you know, EV, not necessarily go and purchasing a marketed EV, but look into what the fundamentals of it is.
Yeah. Be able to build your own damn EV.
You got it. Just like you did back in I mean, we're kind of coming into the world of like the early 2000s when it comes to what off the shelf you could do. There
were a lot of build your own cars back in the day. And, you know, like they were just like, you know, I mean, but what are they called? Shit.
Kit cars.
Yeah, the kit cars, but I'm thinking of the Hoonigans, I think it's called.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? So like the idea of an EV Hoonigan, like a Mad Max style EV Hoonigan, that's some sexy shit. You know what I mean?
But folks got limited time. You know, it's just like I said, like back in the 2000s when, you know, early 2000s when you could off the shelf go to Fry's and build yourself a really banging PC to compete with what, you know, I'm not going to say entities that had that same tech. You could do it with a little bit of reading and a little ingenuity. There's a small window now. You could do that with EVs. I'm telling you, by the time 2030 rolls around, folks ain't going to have that ability no more.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Not going to be allowed to do it. You know what I'm saying? So like, but if you get wild with it, you could back your house up off of it. You could really go off the grid with it. And I want people who are really self-reliant folks to kind of think about it outside the box and like, hey, what could this tech do for me rather than what could this tech do to me? You know, because it's going to do it to you.
Yeah. I've always said, you know, the New World Order is us and we get to decide what it actually means. And you know, when I first said that, it was like way over people's head, man. Motherfuckers were throwing poo at me left and right. And I'm like, I said, dude, they literally have already built monuments to us. Now all we have to do is define what it means. So if we say that we are the New World Order and take that away from them, and then we say the New World Order means this, freedom, all of these things, then, you know, that would be it's too heady a concept for most people, unfortunately. It's kind of like, back to where we started here today, trying to explain a complex topic like chemtrails from both a scientific, you know, here's just the basic fundamentals of atmospherics and, you know, how contrails turn into cirrus clouds, why, when, and how the poisonous chemicals are coming out the rear end. And there are secret programs. There always have been secret programs. There always will be. You know, if you don't mention everything all in one, it's like all the things all simultaneously, or, you know, you're not doing it right. And at the same time, you got to go, you cannot boil these ideas down to a bumper sticker. You know what I mean?
No.
There's never, like, if somebody asks you a question, almost generally, like, there are very few questions you can answer with a single sentence. You know, unless it's like, do you want pizza today? No. We had pizza yesterday. But when we're talking about these huge worldwide phenomena that have been going on for decades, no, don't expect like a one-word answer. And the same is true with, being self-reliant, going off grid. There's a lot of other issues there, that, you can go off grid, and then the next thing you know, the government's going to come out there and be like, well, you have kids and you don't have running water, and we're going to take your fucking kids from you,
Yeah, and that's when I would ask them, you define running.
Right. I know, but it's these kinds of stupid, like the illusion of being free that people don't realize. Like, you think you're free, take you and your kids and just go to by the way, what woods are you going to go to? Like, that are, just public, that aren't going to be private land that somebody's going to like literally come out and shoot you for being on. That leaves like national parks. Oh, by the way, that's going to be a whole nother issue. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a tough one, dude. Anyway, bro, I gotta go get in the shower, and I gotta clean my gun and a couple other things before bed. But
you still streaming?
Yeah, man. Been streaming.
All right, well,
3 hours and 45 minutes. I'm fucking crazy.
Yeah, I know. I've been about an hour and a half in, but well, let everybody know we Legion, so it's all good.
That's all right. Full life, man.
Got it. All right, Jim. I appreciate it, brother. You have a good night, man.
You too, bro. Stay safe.
All right, man. Bye.
All right. And with that, the phone is closed before anybody else can call. It's off. Guys, thank you for hanging out with me tonight. Hell of a first time restreaming everywhere all same time. I'm going to go back and review the tape and see, did we get it right? Did it work? What did we screw up? All of these things. This was a test of the ClimateViewer broadcasting system. It was only a test, but it was fun. Andre, I love you, brother. I still don't know who the fuck you are, and I don't know why you got an obsession with me. I think you want to fuck me. I mean, that's just me personally. I think you find me sexy, which I don't, really oppose that. Okay. But we'll leave it at that. Everybody go check out Andre NATO. I don't know. Anyway, guy thinks that I got some. You will look and take the archive. I know. I will look because I'm curious. Now that you've sent it to me, I might as well look, right? But I mean, Andre, don't be so fucking petty, bro. Like, good night, dum-dum. I used to be a people person. Then people like Andre fucking ruined it. God dang, you can't make this shit up. Anyway, thank you for watching all night, guys. Appreciate everybody that called in. You made it fun for me. You made it fun for everybody in chat. And please continue to support the channel. You can go to connect.climateviewer.com, check out all the things I'm on, and support the channel. Go to climateviewer.substack.com. Go check out my Substack. That's where I'm going to be writing all my latest news here going out. A little bit of short news before we go. weathermodificationhistory.com is coming back. So I did combine the two websites together. I put all the weather mod history on climateviewer.com. And I kind of rethought all that, and I got a new plan. So I'm going to move all that shit back with some new stuff. And we got an app in the works to be able to track the chemtrails and be able to tell you whether is it a contrail? Should it be a contrail? Or is it not in the right conditions for contrail formation? And that's the damn government or some secret program and a way to be able to track those flights and catch a son of a bitch doing it. But that's all I can talk about so far, because if I say anything else, somebody's going to try to steal it before we get it on the internet. But yeah, there's always something in the works going on in the background. And that's why I can't hang out with you every minute of the day, is because I still have to work 40 hours a week. And then during the little bit of time that I get to work in the evening, try to save the damn world. One program at a time, one informative newsletter, or, interview with somebody who literally breaks the internet, and then everybody goes apeshit throwing poo because you just shot Santa Claus. But, with information comes power, and with power comes great responsibility. So please use the information that I provide for free on all my websites to attack ideas, not people. Love you, mean it. If this video resonates with you, leave me a comment, because I love hearing from y'all. First time here, be sure to subscribe and click the bell. Yeah! Remember, it would be impossible for me to do this without your support, so please join my Patreon or buy me a coffee on PayPal. And always, attack ideas, not people.
Kids are impressionable. That's why here at this station, we watch the programs and commercials your child watches carefully. He may see bad guys, but not in the role of heroes. And he'll learn that crime doesn't pay. Because your child's welfare is our concern, too. That's part of our code.
Better than anything you can get without a prescription. Anything. It's the best.
I can do